Chapter 2162. The two of them quickened their pace and finally arrived at the family Zhu. There were many people at the family Zhu. They were all villagers who had come to join in the fun after the incident. There were more than 100 people gathered in the courtyard. Almost half of the villagers had come. It was obvious how serious the matter was. When they arrived at the family Zhu, Xiaoyan asked the villagers who had come to join in the fun. Only then did she figure out how Zhu Sanlu's wretchedness was discovered. It turned out that after Zhu Sanlu taught the poem and said those words yesterday, there really were children who deliberately stayed up at night to secretly watch their parents sleep. When their parents were having sex, they shouted excitedly and their big white buttocks really bumped into each other. The parents were naturally frightened and quickly beat the child. Then, the child said that it was the teacher who told him to do it, which was Zhu Sanlu. The child's parents were very angry. They spent money to send their child to school, but what did Zhu Sanlu teach their child? The child was still young and was harmed like this. As parents, they naturally came to find trouble with Zhu Sanlu. Originally, Zhu Sanlu still wanted to quibble, but in the end, the parents of the other children who attended Zhu Sanlu's school hurriedly asked their children. Their children did not know how to lie. They all said that Zhu Sanlu had indeed taught them in class and had indeed said those words. When the parents heard this, they were furious. They felt that Zhu Sanlu was worse than an animal. Of all things to teach, he had to teach such filthy things to their children. Not only did he cause them to waste money, but their children might also be ruined. They couldn't stand it and naturally came to find Zhu Sanlu to teach him a lesson. At this moment, the parents of the children were beating Zhu Sanlu. Xiaoyan and Mulan heard Zhu Sanlu's screams from afar. No one sympathized with Zhu Sanlu's experience. Everyone seemed to feel that someone like Zhu Sanlu deserved to be beaten to death. He didn't deserve any pity at all. It hurts. It hurts so much. Mum, quickly come and save me. If you don't save me, your son will be beaten to death. Zhu Sanlu yelled as he blocked the fist that was coming at him. Mrs. Zhu's heart ached as she watched from the side, especially when she saw that Zhu Sanlu's body was covered in wounds. She was so anxious that she started crying. She wanted to rush over and save Zhu Sanlu, but there were many people here, and there were even more people who wanted to take care of Zhu Sanlu. She was just an old woman. How could she be a match for these people? Let go of my Lu. If you continue to beat him like this, he will die. Mrs. Zhu cried. The fists that landed on Zhu Sanlu's body did not stop. A woman angrily replied to Mrs. Zhu, "Look at the good son you've taught. He doesn't do anything good. If this kind of person is left in the village, he'll be a scourge in the world. Killing him is a good thing for the people. Yes, to get rid of evil for the people. You feel sorry for your son, but what about our children? They have been learning a lot from your son. You family Zhu must take responsibility." That's right. Beat this Zhu Sanlu to death. Otherwise, the resentment in my chest won't dissipate. How could our Shuilan village have such a person? It's disgusting. These people ignored Mrs. Zhu's obstruction and continued to beat Zhu Sanlu, who was lying on the ground. The wounds on Zhu Sanlu's body became more and more serious. In the end, the corners of his mouth were bleeding. Chapter 2163. Otherwise, if he had stopped Zhu Eru's behavior in time and asked Zhu Eru to tell the children not to talk nonsense when they went back, the matter would not have become so big. Now, he was in such a miserable state. Even if he wanted to think of a way to make up for it, there was nothing he could do. Zhu Sanlu was like a beaten child crying for his mother. He shouted at Mrs. Zhu, "Mother, quickly come and save me, mother." Zhu Sanlu's voice gradually weakened because of the beating. Mrs. Zhu could not wait for Zhu Sanlu to be beaten to death, so she had to push Zhu Dainiu and Madame Qi aside. "Why are you two still so inexperienced? Why don't you follow and help your third brother? Are you really going to let him be beaten to death?" Zhu Dainiu and Madame Qi watched from the side, but they were not worried. After all, they were not the ones who beat him. Zhu Sanlu usually deserved to be taught a lesson, but because Mrs. Zhu protected him, no one beat Zhu Sanlu. This time, the people in the village beat Zhu Sanlu to teach him a lesson so that Zhu Sanlu would remember. Zhu Dainiu said, "Mother, you know that my body is weak. There are only a few of us, and so many people came. Even if we wanted to help third brother, we can't do anything. Besides, it was third brother who did such a shameful thing. How can I help him? I want to hide now so that we won't be laughed at by the people in the village and lose face. Madam Qi also followed Zhu Dainiu and said, "That's right, mother. Even if you feel sorry for third brother, you can't not feel sorry for our Dainiu, right? In this situation, how can we let him help third brother? If third brother had been honest, would this have happened?" Mrs. Zhu was angry with Zhu Dainiu and Madam Qi. If even the family did not help, who else could save Zhu Sanlu? He wanted to ask Zhu Eru to come over and help. However, based on what he said and did yesterday, Zhu Eru would definitely not interfere with Zhu Sanlu's matters anymore. Unfortunately, their family Zhu was small and weak. Now that their family was in trouble, they had no one to help them. When Mrs. Zhu saw Zhu Sanlu being beaten, she could only worry helplessly. She couldn't think of anything to do. In the end, Zhu Sanlu's 2 front teeth were knocked out. His mouth was full of blood, and he looked very miserable. Zhu Sanlu was also lying on the ground weakly. His eyes were opening and closing. It was obvious that he was on the verge of fainting. Mrs. Zhu panicked when she saw Zhu Sanlu's expression. Her precious son had been beaten to such a state. It looked like he had lost half his life. If Zhu Sanlu really died, he would definitely not be able to live the rest of his life as an old man who had to bury his own son. What? Murder! Murder! Mrs. Zhu sat in the courtyard and cried loudly. Those who were originally there to join in the fun were slightly shocked when they heard the word murder. After all, it was a matter of life and death. If Zhu Sanlu did something wrong, it was fine to teach him a lesson. However, if he really killed someone, the situation would be serious. If someone really died, the authorities would also come to investigate. And those who hit Zhu Sanlu might have to go to jail. These weak villagers were most afraid of being involved with the authorities. Once they were in jail, they might not be able to get out and even lose their lives. The villagers who were going to attack Zhu Sanlu also stopped their attacks. Looking at Zhu Sanlu, who was dying on the ground, they felt a little guilty. Chapter 2164. From the looks of it, he probably won't die, as long as we didn't kill him. He deserves to be beaten up like this. It's just to teach him a lesson, so that he won't spoil our village's culture and teach the children bad things. Nothing should have happened. How could he die so easily? It's not like we hurt him too badly. Mrs. Zhu ran to Zhu Sanlu while crying. She hugged Zhu Sanlu, who was on the ground, and cried, "Don't scare your mother. How are you?" Zhu Sanlu lifted his heavy eyelids and looked at Mrs. Zhu as he spoke weakly. "It hurts. It hurts so much. Will I die? I'm still so young. I don't want to die." Mrs. Zhu looked at Zhu Sanlu's appearance and felt even more heartache. "Don't worry. Mother won't let you die. If you really die, Mother will report all the people who beat you today to the authorities and make them pay with their lives." Mrs. Zhu's eyes carried a trace of malice. When the surrounding villagers heard this, especially the ones who beat him up, they were a bit worried. If Zhu Sanlu really died, they couldn't lose their lives for such a person, right? Anti-family Zhu, this matter is pardonable. They didn't beat your third son for no reason. Isn't it because your third son was in the wrong first? Our village has done too many immoral things and has even been drowned in a pig's cage. This time, even if your family's third brother loses his life and the matter goes to the authorities, as long as the county magistrate is a reasonable person, he won't be too harsh on the person who beat your family's third brother. One of the more impartial villagers helped to put in a fair word. Many of the other villagers who wanted to join in the fun also echoed behind. "That's right. Who told your third son to do such a thing? No one would beat someone up for no reason." Anti-family Zhu, if you have the time to blame others, why don't you educate your third son properly so that he won't harm others in the future? Mrs. Zhu was so angry that her chest hurt. It was clearly her Sanlu who had suffered. These people were too heavy-handed, but now they wanted to criticize her. Mrs. Zhu replied fiercely, "Shouldn't Lord Li Zheng have the final say on how to deal with our Sanlu? You guys came up and beat me up, and you even hit me so hard. You can't even reason with me. I'm going to look for Lord Li Zheng to judge and ask if you have the authority to abuse your power and almost beat my Sanlu to death." Mrs. Zhu thought she was right. After all, Zhu Sanlu's injuries were too serious. If Lord Li Zheng could speak up for their family Zhu, they might even be able to ask for medical fees. The injuries on Zhu Sanlu's body were not light. It was estimated that he would need to recuperate for a while. Not only that, but he also had to spend a large sum of money on medical expenses and some supplements for Zhu Sanlu. All of these cost money. Their family Zhu was not rich. How could they take out so much money at once? The best way was to let Lord Li Zheng be the judge and let the people who beat Zhu Sanlu pay for his medical expenses. The people who beat Zhu Sanlu also thought they were right. Zhu Sanlu deserved it, so they agreed to let Lord Li Zheng be the judge. A diligent villager took up the task of running this errand and quickly called Lord Li Zheng over. Chapter 2165. Li Zheng, who understood the situation, was also furious at what Zhu Sanlu had done. The culture of a village was very important, and Zhu Sanlu's actions were clearly damaging to the culture. If he were these parents, and their children were taught to read and write by Zhu Sanlu, but Zhu Sanlu taught them such dirty things, he would probably teach Zhu Sanlu a lesson too. Old Madame Zhu saw Li Zhengdaren's sullen face and didn't speak, so she cried out, "Li Zhengdaren, our family Sanlu was beaten so miserably. You see, he almost lost his life. You can be the judge. If you want to teach people a lesson, then teach them a lesson. There's no need to beat them so ruthlessly and directly beat them to death. My husband passed away early, and it's not easy to raise these children. I don't want to see my children die before me." Seeing Mrs. Zhu crying and crying while slapping her thigh, she looked very sad. Lord Li Zheng's head hurt just looking at her. He was already frustrated, and Mrs. Zhu's voice was so loud that he could not calm down. However, he could not scold Mrs. Zhu, so he only said to Mrs. Zhu patiently, "Auntie Family Zhu, don't cry. What your third son did was intolerable, so it's normal for him to arouse the anger of the people. According to our village's rules, even if we don't drown this kind of person, we should chase him out of Shuilan village to prevent him from ruining the culture." The villagers who joined in the fun followed behind Li Zheng and said, "Yes, this kind of person should be chased out of the village and stop harming people. I also support chasing this kind of person out. He's too inhumane. Although my children were not harmed, I also think that this Zhu Sanlu should be chased out." Mrs. Zhu was still crying, but when she heard that Li Zheng wanted to chase Zhu Sanlu out of the village, she instantly panicked. "Lord Li Zheng, our Sanlu cannot be chased out. If he leaves Shuilan village, won't he be waiting for death? He's already been beaten to this state, please don't chase him out." Li Zheng coughed softly, he could not bear to do it. However, as the village chief, he had to convince the villagers when he handled matters. Only then could he establish his authority. Also, if there were any conflicts in the village, he could step forward to mediate. Otherwise, if he lost his dignity, who in the village would listen to him in the future? Family Zhu's sister-in-law, I didn't say anything about chasing her away. However, your Sanlu has been taught a lesson today, so don't complain. After speaking to Mrs. Zhu, Li Zheng turned to the children's parents. As for you all, you've already vented your anger. I think Zhu Sanlu's injuries are not light this time. This matter ends here. Both parties should not pursue it further. After Li Zheng finished speaking, the parents of the children said unhappily, "Lord Li Zheng, we can teach people a lesson, but that's because this Zhu Sanlu has led our children astray. But from now on, we won't let our children come to school anymore. Previously, we paid half a year's worth of school fees in one go. The family Zhu should refund the school fees to us, right? That's right. We spent a lot of money and worked hard to earn it. In the end, our children didn't learn anything. The family Zhu should refund the money to us. Otherwise, we can't just let it go. If the school fees aren't refunded, we'll be at a disadvantage. Lord Li Zheng, you have to make a decision for us. I want the family Zhu to refund our school fees. Then, we won't pursue this matter any further." Chapter 2166. Family Zhu's sister-in-law, you should refund the tuition fees to them. Otherwise, if this matter continues, it won't be good for all of you, village head said to Mrs. Zhu. Mrs. Zhu valued money very much. She had been holding tightly onto the tuition fees she had collected previously. Now, it would be very difficult for her to return it. Mrs. Zhu was so angry that she threw a tantrum. You want family Zhu to refund the tuition fees? You're dreaming. You beat my Sanlu up so badly. Don't you think he needs to spend money to get his injuries treated? Look at how badly he's injured. The tuition fees you paid might not even be enough to cover his medical bills. Besides, he'll be lying in bed and unable to move. How can he not buy some food to nourish his body? You'll have to spend money on all of that. You can ask family Zhu for a refund, but I'll say this first. My Sanlu's medical bills and the money to nourish his body have to be paid to us. You can't let him suffer such a heavy beating without any compensation, right? When the villagers heard Mrs. Zhu's words, they lowered their heads and discussed among themselves. They were all shocked by Mrs. Zhu's thick skin. Most people would not say such things. Only Mrs. Zhu had the nerve to say it. Village head also frowned and said, Family Zhu's sister-in-law, your request is a little too much. You know very well why your Sanlu was beaten. If you want them to pay for his medical bills, what's the point of beating him? You might as well not have taught them a lesson. Mrs. Zhu said, Lord Village Head, you can't be biased towards those people. Our family Zhu's life is not easy. If you refund the money to them, what will happen to my Sanlu? Village Head was silent for a moment. Family Zhu's sister-in-law, it's fine if you don't refund the money. If you don't want them to pay for your medical bills, you can ask your Sanlu to pack up and leave the village. Mrs. Zhu's heart skipped a beat. Her voice trembled as she asked, Lord Village Head, what do you mean by this? What I'm trying to say is that I'm already giving you a light punishment by asking your family Zhu to refund the tuition fees. It doesn't matter if you don't cooperate with me. Worst comes to worst, Zhu Sanlu will leave the village. It will save him from any trouble in the future. Mrs. Zhu glanced at the dying Zhu Sanlu on the ground. She was not stupid. Compared to a refund, being chased out of the village was much more serious. She couldn't bear to hand over the money, but Li Jing used this method to force her to hand it over. The more Mrs. Zhu thought about it, the more bitter she felt. She slapped her thigh and continued to cry. Oh my God, why am I so unlucky? It wasn't easy for me to live a good life, but in the blink of an eye, I'm back to being poor again. The corner of Li Zheng's mouth twitched as he urged old Madame Zhu on the ground, Auntie Zhu, are you going to refund the money or not? If you don't, I'll have someone throw your family's third son out of the village. Mrs. Zhu wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. Can I return it? The villagers ganged up to bully our family Zhu. Old man, it's all your fault for leaving so early. If you hadn't left, we wouldn't have been bullied like this. Mrs. Zhu's words made him speechless. She was clearly in the wrong, yet she was blaming others. Li Zheng's punishment was indeed light, but family Zhu didn't know how to appreciate his kindness. Although Mrs. Zhu grumbled, she went into the house and took out the money bag. She counted the money in front of Li Zheng and returned the tuition fees to their respective parents. Chapter 2167. After the parents who came to settle the score with Zhu Sanlu received the money, they warned the dying Zhu Sanlu who was lying on the ground, Don't let us see you again in the future. Don't do such a thing in the future, or you'll really die next time. After the parents left, the people in the village who wanted to join in the fun also dispersed. Li Zheng stayed behind and said a few words to Mrs. Zhu. Auntie Family Zhu, don't think that I'm too harsh on your family Zhu. That's because your Sanlu is really outrageous. Today's incident is a warning and lesson to him. In the future, he should be more honest and not do such immoral things again. Otherwise, I won't be able to protect him when the time comes. Mrs. Zhu hugged Zhu Sanlu on the ground and cried even louder. Sai, my son, why are you so pitiful? Li Zheng was speechless for a while. He knew that Mrs. Zhu was still complaining about his punishment. However, it wasn't easy for him either. After such a thing happened, if he didn't punish the family Zhu a little, other people would also have opinions. Since it was difficult to satisfy both sides, he couldn't do anything if one side complained. Looking at Mrs. Zhu hugging Zhu Sanlu on the ground and crying, Li Zheng sighed and said to Mrs. Zhu, "All right, sister-in-law, instead of crying here, why don't you call Dr. Sun over and treat your third brother's injuries?" After being reminded by Li Zheng, Mrs. Zhu finally reacted. At this time, treating Zhu Sanlu's injuries was indeed the most important thing. Old Madame Zhu wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and instructed Qishir on the side, "What are you still standing there for, woman? Why don't you hurry and call Dr. Sun over to treat your third brother?" However, Mrs. Qi was a little unhappy and stood there without taking a step. Mrs. Zhu frowned and scolded Mrs. Qi unhappily. "I say, my eldest daughter-in-law, didn't you hear what I said? Why don't you hurry and call a doctor for your third brother? As his sister-in-law, why aren't you worried or concerned about your brother-in-law's injuries?" Mrs. Qi was also a little annoyed. She snorted and said, "Mother, you only know how to favor third brother. Third brother is injured and you're so anxious, yet you still want to call a doctor for him. His injuries are so serious, it won't be good without a few taels of silver. Where did our family get so much money from? If it was before, we could still make some money because third brother opened a school. But now, it's all returned to others. Now, our family probably can't afford to pay for third brother's treatment. For a third brother, he couldn't possibly sell everything he had, right? How are the rest of the family going to survive if you empty out the family?" In the end, Mrs. Zhu's sister-in-law, Mrs. Zhu, Mrs. Zhu's brothers, Zhu's, Zhu. It would cost several taels of silver to treat Zhu Sanlu's injuries and get medicine. For the family Zhu now, it was undoubtedly adding fuel to the fire. So she didn't agree. She still wanted to eat and live. There were several children at home to support. She couldn't let everyone in the family Zhu's family suffer because of Zhu Sanlu, right? Zhu Daoist stood at the side and heard Madame Qi's words. This time, he felt that Mrs. Qi was right. They had to consider the actual situation of the family when treating Zhu Sanlu's injuries. Chapter 2168. The whole family was counting on him, and he had a heavy responsibility. He really didn't want to add more burdens to his body. Zhu Daoist frowned and said to Mrs. Zhu in a low voice, "Mother, my wife is right. We don't have much money now, so how can we treat third brother's injuries? Are you trying to make our family Zhu's life miserable?" Mrs. Zhu's face had long darkened. She angrily looked at her eldest son and daughter-in-law and scolded, "You two heartless things. Your third brother is your biological brother. Brothers should support each other. Now that he's so seriously injured and on the verge of death, all you think about is money. If his injuries aren't treated in time, he might lose his life. Do you have to watch him die before you're happy? How can you be so heartless?" Madame Qi pursed her lips and replied to Mrs. Zhu, "Mother, it's third brother's fault for courting death and insisting on doing such dirty things. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Go and see which brother is like third brother. He can't do much, but he's a burden to others." Zhu Daoist also nodded and said, "That's right, Mother. Today's matter was entirely third brother's fault. If he was fine, he wouldn't have ended up like this." Madame Qi snorted softly, "Besides, Mother, you complain that Daoist and I don't care about our brother. But without Daoist and I, third brother's life couldn't go on. He stays at home and does everything all day, just like an old man. My Daoist works himself to death all day, busying himself with all the things in the world. Now he's doing too much work and is so tired that he's getting heat stroke. But Mother, you're biased to a certain extent and never ask third brother to do any work. If we don't treat third brother's injuries now, she might lose her life alone. But if we help third brother, then our family will have to sacrifice everything and no one will have a good life in the future. Maybe because there's no food, everyone will starve to death." After Madame Qi finished speaking, Zhu Daoist nodded in agreement. "Yes, if we don't treat third brother's injuries now, one of us might die. If we help third brother, then the whole family will die. Mother, for the sake of our family, we can only sacrifice third brother." Mrs. Zhu was so angry that she started coughing violently. His eldest son and eldest daughter-in-law were singing the same tune. To put it bluntly, they were reluctant to fork out money to treat Zhu Sanlu's illness. Old Madame Zhu suddenly jumped up from the ground and rushed to Qishu. She slapped Qishu's face and then scolded, "You stinky woman, you only know how to instigate my family's dainty and not to treat Sanlu. See if I don't teach you a lesson. Let's see if you still dare to run your mouth." Madame Qi's face was immediately imprinted with a red palm print, and her face began to swell slightly. She was stunned, and it took her a while to react. "Daniel, look, mother hit me really hard. I'm just telling the truth about our family Zhu's future. Mother only cares about third brother and doesn't care about the lives of the rest of us. Dainyu, we still have several children to feed. Now that you can't do heavy work in the fields, we have to spend so much money to treat third brother's injuries. How can we afford it with our current situation?" Mrs. Zhu was even more furious. Chapter 2169. Just as Mrs. Zhu was about to teach Madame Qi a lesson again, Madame Qi suddenly hid behind Zhu Dainyu and said to Zhu Dainyu, "Husband, mother is going to hit someone again. Help me." Zhu Dainyu blocked Mrs. Zhu and grabbed Mrs. Zhu's hand. He said sternly, "Mother, can you stop making a fuss? Do you think our family is not chaotic enough? Do you have to lure the villagers here and make fun of our family, Zhu?" Mrs. Zhu was stunned for a moment. Then she wiped her tears and complained, "Dainty, you can't leave your third brother alone. If your third brother is really dead, then I don't want to live either." As old Madame Zhu spoke, she suddenly fell to the ground. Like a scoundrel, she flipped over and over. She looked very sad and hopeless about life. Zhu Dainyu watched helplessly from the side. He wanted to comfort Mrs. Zhu, but Mrs. Zhu was deliberately making a fuss because she wanted him to agree to save Zhu Sanlu. Zhu Dainyu glanced at the dying Zhu Sanlu on the ground and then glanced at Mrs. Zhu. At this moment, his mood was very complicated. He couldn't bear to see his mother and brother like this. But when he thought of the high medical fees, his heart beat a retreat. To put it bluntly, it was all because he didn't have money and the family Zhu had to continue living. He had to plan well because he was the only man in the family who could take responsibility. Zhu Dainyu was silent for a moment. Then he said to Mrs. Zhu, "Mother, it's not impossible to save third brother." Mrs. Zhu looked up excitedly. "Dainyu, are you willing to save your third brother?" Zhu Dainyu took a deep breath and replied to Mrs. Zhu, "Mother, you know that our family doesn't have money. If you want to save third brother, why don't you go to second brother and ask him to take out some money?" Right now, second brother's family was doing pretty well. Taking a few taels of silver wouldn't affect their family at all. We're all blood brothers. Second brother can't just watch as we're unable to continue living, right? After hearing Zhu Dainyu's words, Mrs. Zhu fell silent. Asking Zhu Eru for money? How was that possible? If it was before, it would have been fine. But after what happened yesterday, how could he bring himself to ask Zhu Eru for money? If he had listened to Zhu Eru, he wouldn't have caused such a ruckus today. Zhu Eru had reminded him, but he had scolded Eru instead. Now that she was going to ask for money, she might even be ridiculed by Zhu Eru. No. Mrs. Zhu waved her hand and refused. "Mom, why not?" Zhu Dainyu asked. "This method won't work." Old Madame Zhu replied weakly. Zhu Dainyu said, "Mom, why won't it work? Anyway, I already said that if you want to save third brother, you can only ask second brother for money. Otherwise, don't save him." Before Mrs. Zhu could reply, Mulan and Zhao Yun, who were standing in the distance, couldn't remain calm. They directly walked into the family Zhu's courtyard. They originally wanted to leave with the villagers, but when they realized that there was still a show to watch, they stood outside the courtyard and continued to watch the show. Who knew that Zhu Dainyu would say something like that? Zhu Dainyu didn't care if he didn't save third brother, but he couldn't rely on the second branch. Now, he even wanted to ask the second branch for money. Wasn't this a joke? Chapter 2170. Zhu Dainyu met Mulan's eyes. Mulan's sharp gaze made him feel a little scared. He didn't expect that Mulan was still outside the courtyard and heard his words, so he was a little embarrassed. Second sister-in-law, don't be impulsive. Isn't it because third brother's injury is too serious and mother wants to save third brother? You also know that our lives aren't going well now and our family doesn't have any money. If we really want to save third brother, our entire family will probably starve to death. But second sister-in-law, you're different. You've built a big house and you're living a good life. Taking out some money won't affect your current life and you can even save third brother. So what? Zhu Dainiu said matter-of-factly. When Mulan heard this, she sneered and replied to Zhu Dainiu, "Eldest brother, it's easy for you to say this. Why can't you save third brother? If you really don't have any money, why don't you sell a moo of farmland and gather some money? Why do you have to reach out and ask our second branch for money? Now that we've separated from the family, our second branch doesn't want to meddle in your affairs. If you want our second branch to take out money to treat third brother, don't be delusional. Yesterday, we came over to remind third brother of his improper behavior. In the end, mother didn't believe us and even hurt our Eru's face. Don't tell me you have the nerve to ask our second branch to take out money now? How can there be such a good thing in this world?" After hearing Mulan's words, Zhu Dainiu felt even less confident. However, he still stubbornly replied, "Second sister-in-law, how can we be so calculative when we're family? This time, if you don't take out money to save third brother, the villagers might say that you and second brother are too ruthless. You don't care about your own brothers and don't care about brotherhood at all." Mulan knew that Zhu Dainiu was only threatening her. However, she wasn't someone who cared about her face and retorted, "Others can say whatever they want. However, big brother, third brother did something shameful this time and was beaten up by the villagers. Eru and I didn't take out the money to save him because we felt that it was good that he was punished. This kind of immoral person should be dealt with properly. Perhaps the people in the village would praise me and Eru for not saving him, so that third brother wouldn't come out to harm people again. Our family Zhu is already embarrassing enough. If you want to make a fool of yourself, go ahead. I don't care." As soon as Mulan finished speaking, Zhu Dainiu didn't know how to respond. What Mulan said was indeed reasonable. If the second branch really didn't pay for Zhu Sanlu's treatment, they might even be praised by the villagers. Seeing that Zhu Dainiu was speechless, Mulan curled her lips and said to Mrs. Zhu, "Mother, doesn't third brother also have a few mu of land in his hands? Why do you have to beg big brother to treat third brother's injury? Directly sell third brother's 1 mu of land. Not only will you have money to treat third brother's injury, but you can also buy some good things for third brother to nourish his body. You can't delay any longer. Otherwise, if third brother drags on, he might really lose his life." After hearing Mulan's words, Mrs. Zhu felt that it was very reasonable. Gritting her teeth, she said, "Yes, Sanlu has a few mu of land in his hands. We have to treat his injury. Otherwise, we'll sell 1 mu of land." Zhu Dainiu frowned and was very unwilling. "Mother, we don't have enough food in our family's fields. If we sell another mu of land, the harvest will be even smaller. How will we survive?" Chapter 2171. That's a problem for the future. Anyway, I have to save your younger brother now. If your younger brother dies, I can't live either. It's meaningless to think about it now. After old Madame Zhu finished speaking, she hugged Zhu Sanlu with a firm look. Zhu Dainiu was displeased. He knew very well that since it was Mrs. Zhu's decision, he couldn't change it. If he insisted on not selling the land, Mrs. Zhu would make more trouble. However, if he were to sell the land, he would feel uncomfortable and unwilling. "Mom, if you really insist on selling the land to treat my younger brother's illness, I have no objection. After all, it's my younger brother's land. I can't monopolize it. But there's one thing that I have to make clear. After my younger brother sells the land, he will have less land in his hands. You and my younger brother will live together with me. It's like I'm supporting this family alone." Mrs. Zhu frowned for a second. She seemed to know what Zhu Dainiu was going to say. "Boss, what do you mean by this?" "Mom, I want to separate from my younger brother. Our eldest branch will live separately from my younger brother in the future. My younger brother can do whatever he wants. It has nothing to do with our eldest branch anyway. Even if he sells all the land, I won't care anymore." After Zhu Dainiu finished his words, Mrs. Zhu couldn't stay calm. She stared at Zhu Dainiu and said in a trembling voice, Dainiu, if you separate from the family now, won't you drive your younger brother to death? He's too weak to stand a gust of wind. What can he do? Even if he has land in his hands, he can't do the work in the land. Mrs. Qi immediately jumped out and said, Mom, you're wrong. You want to take advantage of our eldest branch. My younger brother is in such a poor condition. Do you want Dainiu to take care of him for the rest of his life? Dainiu isn't third brother's father. We already said that blood brothers should settle accounts clearly. Our first branch can't possibly suffer such a big loss, right? Zhu Dainiu said in a deep voice, Mother, third younger brother is not young anymore. He is not a child anymore. He can't always hide under my wings. Second younger brother has already separated. It's time for our first branch to separate from third younger brother. However, Mother, it's not like I won't support you in the future. It's just that the first branch's things will be separated from the third branch's things. If third brother really can't survive in the future, he can't blame me. Zhu Dainiu's words were very resolute. From his tone, it seemed that he was determined to separate from the family. If he brought it up now, it would be a good opportunity. If he brought it up in the future, it would not be so easy. No, we can't split up. Boss, don't make a fuss. You are brothers. You can't just watch your third brother die, right? Mrs. Zhu cried and begged Zhu Dainiu. Zhu Dainiu was speechless. This made him seem like a heartless person. Obviously, he was the one who would suffer losses if they didn't separate from the family. His mother only cared about third younger brother and didn't care about how he would live in the future. Mother, don't say any more. We must separate from the family today. Zhu Dainiu sighed and said with determination. Mrs. Qi also agreed, yes, we must separate from the family. What if third younger brother does such an unforgivable thing again in the future? What if third younger brother brings trouble to our first branch? How many acres of land can we afford to lose in the future? Besides, we will be laughed at because of him. We can't afford to lose face. Chapter 2172. During this period of living with Mrs. Zhu, she had to let her do all the chores. Mrs. Zhu used her identity as Mrs. Zhu's mother-in-law to order her around. If she hadn't done something wrong before and lost Zhu Dainiu's trust, without Zhu Dainiu's favoritism, it would be difficult for Mrs. Zhu, an old woman, to be arrogant. Moreover, the family Zhu's money was also handed over to Mrs. Zhu for safekeeping. If they separated from the family, the money would naturally fall on her again. Without Mrs. Zhu to manage it in the future, it would be so comfortable. Mrs. Zhu cried and shouted, No, you two are too cruel. How can you treat your third younger brother like this? Mrs. Qi put her hands on her waist and raised her chin. Mother, you can't say that. We didn't do anything wrong. If you think we're cruel, you can go to the village and ask whether we did anything wrong. Now that Zhu Sanlu had become the most hated existence in the village, it was strange that someone would side with Zhu Sanlu and speak up for him. Mrs. Zhu suddenly had no choice but to cry even louder. She really didn't know what to say. She secretly cursed Zhu Dainiu and Mrs. Qi several times in her heart, but she still couldn't change Zhu Dainiu's decision to separate from the family. Zhu Dainiu sighed deeply. Mother, don't cry and shout. Third younger brother should work hard in the future. It's not like he can't live anymore. I'll send him to his room now. Then I'll see Dr. Sunday. In the future, our first branch and the third branch will part on good terms. Mrs. Zhu was dumbfounded. She would do whatever Zhu Dainiu said. Thinking that Zhu Sanlu couldn't live alone in the future, Mrs. Zhu cried even more sadly. Zhu Dainiu could only ignore Mrs. Zhu. No matter what, he couldn't be soft-hearted this time. Once he was soft-hearted, he would be the one who was unlucky and pitiful in the future. Milan and Zhao Yun witnessed this lively scene, and the two of them walked back in a good mood. Now that Zhu Sanlu had been beaten up like this and had lost half his life, his days were already not good. Who would have thought that Zhu Dainiu would suddenly propose to split the family assets? He was afraid that his life would be even more difficult in the future. However, no matter how pitiful Zhu Sanlu was, he deserved it. They had no sympathy for Zhu Sanlu. On the way back, Mulan and Zhao Yuner talked and laughed. Mulan was not in a good mood. Yuner, it said that good will be rewarded with good, and evil will be repaid with evil. It's not that there's no retribution, it's just that it's not time yet. I didn't expect my third brother's retribution to come so soon. Zhao Yuner also laughed a few times. Of course, such a disgusting person will be dealt with by the heavens sooner or later. Looking at my mother's distressed expression, I also feel happy. My mother spoiled my son. My third brother became like this because my mother spoiled him. Otherwise, if she had taught him a good lesson, such a thing would not have happened. Zhao Yuner nodded and replied, of course, they were born from the same mother. I think second brother who is more than 1,000 times better than your third brother. My husband was not favored since he was young. Mulan sighed helplessly. Thinking about it, it was a good thing that he was not favored. At least he was more sensible and knew how to care for others. As the two of them talked, they had already returned to the front of the two families' houses. They had gone out early in the morning to watch the commotion, and by the time they came back, they had already wasted a lot of time. At this time, everyone in the family was up. There was a faint smoke in the kitchen of Zhao Yuner's house at this time. Liang Jinxiao was probably cooking. In the courtyard of Mu Lan's house, Mu Hin had also come out of the kitchen. Chapter 2173. Looking at Mu Hin's sweaty face, Zhao Tianan was very distressed. He took out a handkerchief and handed it to Mu Hin, and said softly to Mu Hin, "Come on, wipe your sweat." Looking at the handkerchief that Zhao Tianan handed over, Mu Hin was slightly stunned. "This handkerchief, take it and wipe it. Do you want me to wipe it for you?" Zhao Tianan grinned, revealing a row of big white teeth, which was very charming. Mu Hin hurriedly shook his head. "No, I can do it myself." Saying that, Mu Hin took the handkerchief from Zhao Tianan's hand and wiped the sweat on his face. After wiping the sweat, Mu Hin stared at the handkerchief in his hand for a long time. Zhao Tianan asked with concern, "Xianxia, what's wrong? Do you like this handkerchief? If you like it, then I'll give it to you." Mu Hin suddenly stuffed the handkerchief into Zhao Tianan's hand and said in a low voice, "I don't want your handkerchief. Xianxia, you'll be my wife in the future. When we're together, there's no need to divide between you and me. If you like this handkerchief, just take it. You don't have to be polite with me." Zhao Tianan thought that Mu Hin was shy, so he didn't take the handkerchief that he handed over. Mu Hin blushed slightly. "Who's your wife? We're not married yet. Anyway, we'll be married soon. You'll be my wife," Zhao Tianan said. It was the first time that he had spoken so shamelessly. However, when he saw that Mu Hin's face was not very good, the smile on the corners of his mouth suddenly froze. "What's wrong with you? Did I say something wrong? Are you unhappy?" Zhao Tianan asked cautiously. Mu Hin shook his head. "Nothing." How could Zhao Tianan believe Mu Hin's words? "I know you must be angry. Can you tell me what I said or did wrong? Don't keep quiet. If there's anything, let's communicate properly. Don't leave any misunderstandings." Mu Hin took a deep breath and agreed with what Zhao Tianan said. If there was anything between two people, they had to communicate properly. Otherwise, if they were together, it would cause a big misunderstanding, which would affect the relationship between the two people. "Tianan, you're a boy. Where did you get such a beautiful handkerchief? You're even carrying it in your pocket. Did the girl make it for you?" Mu Hin asked with a hint of grievance. Zhao Tianan glanced at the handkerchief in his hand and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Xianxia, you misunderstood. It wasn't given to me by a girl. It was given to me by my second elder sister." Hearing Zhao Tianan say that it was given to him by Zhao Yuner, Mu Hin showed a touch of embarrassment. She had thought that another girl was in a relationship with Zhao Tianan. It turned out that she was jealous of the wrong person. This was naturally very embarrassing. "Your second elder sister gave it to you?" Yes. She not only gave it to me, but also to other people in my family." Mu Hin's face became redder. He lowered his head and said with embarrassment, "I've wronged you." Zhao Tianan smiled and shook his head. It's okay. Now we can explain it clearly. Zhao Tianan was not angry at all at this time. Instead, he was very happy. Mu Hin was angry because she thought that the handkerchief was given to him by another girl. At least, it meant that he was in Mu Hin's heart. Otherwise, it was impossible for a person to be jealous. Yes. Mu Hin answered with embarrassment. Chapter 2174. Mulan and Zhao Yun watched from the side. It was like a scene of two young people falling in love. Mulan couldn't help but feel a little envious. Unlike her and Zhu Eru, who were introduced by a matchmaker, the two families felt that they were suitable for each other. Although Zhu Eru was good, and she liked Zhu Eru very much now. But she still hoped that the relationship between Zhao Tianan and Mu Hin would be like that. The feeling of two people who loved each other and then rushed to the hall of marriage after spending some time together was completely different from the feeling of getting married directly. Because once they got married, it meant that they would have children. And after giving birth, a woman's focus was her family and children. It was impossible for her to be like Mu Hin and Zhao Tianan, who could play together happily without caring about anything else. Unfortunately, she couldn't have another chance in life, so she could only envy others. Zhao Yun looked at Zhao Tianan and Mu Hin together. Both of them had happy smiles on their faces, so she said to Mulan, "Sister-in-law Mulan, I think the two of them have a good relationship. Why don't we wait until we're done with the farm work and prepare for our wedding?" "Ah, isn't it a little early?" It's not early. I think my little brother Tian can't wait to marry Mu Exin into his family. If it weren't for the fact that both of our families are too busy, I would have arranged the wedding of their two children long ago. Then I'll discuss it with Mu Hin. Mulan smiled. Zhao Yun nodded in response, but she made a joke. "Sister-in-law Mulan, I think you're the one who can't bear to let Mu Hin marry into your family so soon, right?" Mulan also laughed. "Of course I can't bear to part with my sister. A married daughter is like spilled water. In the future, she'll be a member of your Zhao family. However, it's a good thing that we're neighbors. Even if Xen marries into your Zhao family, she can still visit us every day. It's very convenient for her to come back and visit us. If our two families are not together, it will be more troublesome to communicate with each other. I am really reluctant to let her marry into our family. At least she can stay at home for a while. After all, she only had this one sister. The people in her family were all good-for-nothings. She didn't want to bother with them. Now, he only hoped that his only sister could live a good life. Fortunately, God was fair and helped Mu Hin find such a good marriage. Being in-laws with Zhao Yun was probably a blessing that many people could not hope for. Zhao Yun understood how Mulan felt. She held her hand and assured her, "Don't worry, sister-in-law Mulan. Mu Hin is definitely the best choice for Tianan. Not only will you be here, but you and your sister will take care of each other. Moreover, my family and Tianan will definitely not let Mu Hin down. We'll definitely treat her well. Yuner, I believe in you. You're good people to begin with." Zhao Yun's smile deepened. When the two of them walked to Mulan's courtyard, Mu Hin greeted Mulan and said, "Sister, you're back. I saw that I've already finished cooking. Come and eat." But Zhao Yun returned to her own home. After breakfast, she fed Tian milk and washed the family's clothes. Zhao Yun was so tired that she was sweating profusely. Fortunately, there were many people at home, and there were people to help her with the small matters. Otherwise, she would definitely not be able to handle it alone. When it was past 10 in the morning, Qian Zhonghu came looking for her. Chapter 2175. Qian Zhozhe took a few deep breaths and rested for a few seconds before saying to Zhao Yun, I have something to trouble you with. Zhao Yun knew that under normal circumstances, Qian Zhozhe would not take the initiative to ask for help. Since she came to ask for help, it must be because she could not do it herself. Zhao Yun replied politely to this fourth aunt. "Fourth aunt, if you have anything to say, just say it. Don't be polite with me." Qian Zhozhe smiled. "Actually, it's not a big deal. It's just that it's not easy for Jing to return home. She just came over. This girl is filial. As soon as she came back, she brought a lot of good things for all of us. Also, Jing brought young Master Zheng over. Your grandfather and grandmother mean that you should treat Jing and young Master Zheng well in our old Zhao family. But our family's cooking skills are not very good. I'm afraid that young Master Zheng won't like it. In the past, young Master Zheng has been talking about your cooking skills, so he wants you to cook a few dishes for him. This afternoon, all 3 families will go over for lunch. It's rare for everyone to get together and have a good meal. After hearing Qian Zhou's words, Zhao Yun was silent for a moment. She was wondering what it was, but it turned out that she was asking her to cook. Thinking about it, it was Zhao Jing's first time returning home after getting married. She could not treat her too shabbily. If she did not treat her well, Zhao Jing's face would be lost. When Zhao Jing returned to her in-laws' family, she would have no status at all. For Zhao Jing's sake, the old Zhao family had to maintain some face. Of course, Zhao Jing brought good things for everyone when she came back this time, which became a favor to her. Of course, the other families had to treat her well. Hu Chunhua was a powerful old woman. When she saw Zhao Jing bring back good things this time, she naturally tried her best to curry favor with her. The next time Zhao Jing returned to her family, she would definitely continue to bring things. Hu Chunhua was very shrewd when it came to people who could benefit from it. She knew how to please them. Qian Zhui already knew that Zhao Yuner did not agree, so she sighed and said, "AI, it's true that we can't find anyone else. Otherwise, we wouldn't have let Yuner do all the work. Fourth aunt knows that you are very busy every day. It must be very tiring for you to cook in the kitchen on such a hot day. Why don't I go back and make something with your aunt?" Zhao Yuner shook her head and said, "Fourth aunt, let me go. Young Master Zheng usually eats exotic delicacies. Now that he's in old Zhao's house, he might not be used to the food if it's too bad. If he's unhappy, then it won't be so easy for my cousin to return to her parents' home next time." Qian Zhui hurriedly replied with a smile, "All right, girl, you can go with fourth aunt. We're all doing this for Jing. She's just a concubine after all. It's not easy for her to live in her husband's family. Now that she has returned to her maternal family, we, her maternal family, have to take good care of her." Zhao Yuner nodded in agreement. For a woman, her maternal family was the last thing she could rely on. If her maternal family did not do a good job, the one who suffered the most was Zhao Jing. Zhao Jing was already pitiful enough without Li Chuiying as her mother. As her cousin, there was no harm in helping her with something as trivial as this. If she did not help with something as trivial as this, she would appear too petty in the eyes of others. "Fourth aunt, wait for me. I'll go wash my hands and hand over some things." "All right." Chapter 2176. At this time, a carriage was parked in front of old Zhao's yard. It should be young Master Zheng's. A few tables and chairs were moved out of the yard. Zhao Jinger and young Master Zheng sat in the yard. The other elders of old Zhao's family also sat down. Zhao Jinger, who had stayed with the Zheng family for a while, was obviously a little different from before she got married. Not to mention anything else, just the way she dressed had changed a lot. At this time, Zhao Jinger was wearing a pink long dress. She exuded a youthful aura and a sense of nobility at the same time. This was something that the rough clothes of the countryside could not bring out at all. She had also become a lot rounder. She was a little fatter than before, but her complexion was much better. Her skin was much fairer and smoother. It was probably due to the nourishment of good food. Because the Zheng family was rich, Zhao Jinger was even more adorned with gold and silver. She had a white jade hairpin on her head and gold bracelets on her hands. She did look a little like a noblewoman. Clothes made the man and gold made the Buddha. This saying was right. Young Master Zheng was wearing bright blue clothes. He looked a little mature. From his appearance, it could be seen that young Master Zheng was much older than Zhao Jing. Fortunately, when the two of them sat together, they seemed to be in harmony. At this time, Hu Chunhua looked at young Master Zheng with a fawning look. After glancing at these people a few times, Zhao Yun looked away and turned to enter old Zhao's kitchen to prepare the meal. Qian Hongzhou followed Zhao Yun into the kitchen and helped Zhao Yun. There was a lot of food to prepare at noon. Zhao Yun couldn't do it alone. Because young Master Zheng brought a lot of fish before coming over, old Zhao's family didn't prepare much. They just cooked the fish that young Master Zheng brought. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to buy fish back. There were only some wild vegetables left at home. They couldn't serve Zhao Jing and young Master Zheng with these vegetarian dishes. Hu Chunhua caught a chicken from the chicken coop and let Zhao Yuner cook it. There were fish, meat, and chicken. With Zhao Yuner's cooking skills, Zhao Yuner could cook a sumptuous lunch. Qian Jue helped Zhao Yuner as she smiled and said, "Yuner, you saw it just now, right? Jing was indeed different after marrying into a rich family. She looked much better than before. A woman should find a good husband to marry. Not only would she not have to suffer, she would also become more and more beautiful. However, not everyone can have such good fortune. Jing was born with such a good fate." Qian Zhuzhe seemed to be very satisfied with Zhao Jing's marriage, as if she had completely forgotten that Zhao Jing was only marrying young Master Zheng as a concubine and not his wife. However, Zhao Yuner could understand. People in ancient times only wanted to live a good life. Filling their stomachs was the most important thing. Why would they think so much? Seeing that Zhao Jing's life was so good now, they naturally thought that Zhao Jing had married into a good family. Thus, they ignored that Zhao Jing was a concubine in the Zheng family. Fourth aunt, everyone has their own way of living. As long as they have enough to eat, wear warm clothes, and live happily as a family. Zhao Yuner added with a smile. Qian Zhuzhe nodded in agreement. Yuner, you're right. Chapter 2177. There's still a long way to go. Maybe you'll see. Therefore, my cousin doesn't know that second aunt has left our Zhao family. If she knows this time, she might take young Master Zheng to second aunt's house next time. Qian Zhenhua thought about it and agreed. As long as Zhao Jinger missed Li Chuang, she would always go to Li Chuang. At this time, Zhao Jinger was sitting next to Zhao Wenshui. Seeing that her father had lost a lot of weight in such a short time, and his complexion was terrible, Zhao Jinger felt very distressed. She was a little confused. She had only been married for a short time. What happened to her family that could make Zhao Wenshui like this? Dad, what's wrong with you? Are you sick? And where's mother? Why didn't I see her when I came back this time? Faced with Zhao Jinger's question, Zhao Wenshui didn't know how to answer for a while. He felt even more guilty, thinking about the dirty things he had done to drive Li Chuang away. If he said it out loud, Zhao Jinger would definitely blame him. Seeing that Zhao Wenshui lowered his head and didn't speak, Zhao Jinger was a little anxious and had a bad feeling in her heart. She asked Zhao Wenshui, "Dad, tell me, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with my mother? Don't keep quiet, okay?" Zhao Wenshui sighed heavily and said to Zhao Jinger, "What? Your mother went back to her mother's house, so she's not at home." Zhao Jinger frowned and felt that something was wrong. My mother went back to her mother's house? Why did she go back to her mother's house? Zhao Wenshui wanted to fool her, so he said casually, "If she went back, then she went back. How would I know what she's going to do?" Zhao Jinger took a deep breath and looked at Zhao Wenshui. Seeing Zhao Wenshui's guilty look, she knew that Zhao Wenshui must be hiding something from her, so she asked, "Dad, can you tell me the truth? Did you force my mother away again?" "No." Zhao Wenshui replied timidly. "No." Zhao Jinger stared at Zhao Wenshui. She was very suspicious of Zhao Wenshui. "No. Jing, it's rare for you to go back to your parents' home. Why do you have to ask your mother? Let's talk about something else." Zhao Wenshui smiled embarrassedly. The more Zhao Wenshui acted like this, the more Zhao Jing felt that there was more to it, so she snorted and said, "Dad, it doesn't matter if you don't tell me. I'll go to Grandma's house tomorrow and ask what happened. If I find out that you did something wrong to my mother and forced her away again, I won't let you go." Zhao Wenshui immediately panicked after hearing Zhao Jinger's words. He was afraid that Zhao Jing would really ignore him. He didn't have anything now. Because of his injuries, he had been living a hard life. He was counting on his daughter to help him and let him live a good life. Otherwise, who else could he rely on? Jing, Dad will tell you, okay? Your mother divorced me and ran back to her mother's house alone. Jing, I don't want to divorce your mother. Look, after your mother divorced me, what kind of life did your father have? I was injured and had no one to take care of me. I almost died in bed. If your mother was here, I wouldn't be like this. In the end, she cruelly abandoned me and let your father live a pitiful life alone. Zhao Wenshui wept and complained in front of Zhao Jing, looking very sad. Chapter 2178. Hearing this, Zhao Jing'er wondered if Zhao Wenshui was telling the truth. She knew Zhao Wenshui and Li Chuang's personalities very well. Her mother didn't seem like someone who would do anything to her father. The two of them wouldn't fight for a divorce for no reason. Something must have happened. However, seeing that Zhao Wenshui was indeed like what he had said, with no one to take care of him when he was injured and looking half dead, although his injuries were almost healed, his complexion was still half a level worse than before. In his heart, he began to believe Zhao Wenshui's words. Zhao Wenshui continued wiping his tears and complaining to Zhao Jing and young Master Zheng. My precious daughter and son-in-law, I'm living a hard life. I don't have a woman by my side. It's too hard for me to live alone. If you pity me, help me buy a wife. Someone will take good care of me and Tianyu. Otherwise, as a man, I can't even take care of myself without a wife, let alone a child. I know your family is rich. Buying a woman will cost at most 20 or 30 taels. I believe you can afford it. For the sake of my future, you have to help me. Seeing Zhao Wenshui crying pitifully, but saying such words, Zhao Jing'er felt very uncomfortable. Most importantly, her father directly asked them to buy a wife for him in front of young Master Zheng. Zhao Jing'er felt that she had lost face in front of her man. Although the Zheng family was rich, they weren't stupid enough to give money away for free. She was only a concubine in the Zheng family after all. Her status wasn't high. It was already not easy for young Master Zheng to accompany her back to her parents' home. However, as soon as they came to her parents' home, her father asked for this and that, which made young Master Zheng unhappy. She didn't know how to face young Master Zheng later. Zhao Wenshui was thick-skinned and muddle-headed, but the rest of the old Zhao family weren't muddle-headed. Zhao Baoshan couldn't help but scold Zhao Wenshui. You shameless man. You did something shameful and forced your wife to leave. How dare you talk about her? I think you shouldn't ask Jing to buy a wife for you, lest you harm others again. Zhao Wenshui's face darkened, but he was afraid of Zhao Baoshan. Feeling wronged, she muttered, Father, why are you like this? Zhao Jing'er rushed to Baoshan and asked, Grandpa, what did my father do to drive my mother away? Zhao Baoshan coughed lightly. Jing, I can't talk about your father's disgraceful deeds in front of young Master Zheng. Anyway, don't believe what he says and don't buy him a wife. Zhao Wenshui was anxious and said to Zhao Baoshan, Father, if you don't let Jing buy me a wife, how can I live in the future? You and mother don't care about me. I'm your son. Don't tell me you want me to die? It's not easy for me to stay alive in bed this time. If it happens again and no one takes care of me, I may not be so lucky to survive. Zhao Baoshan snorted. What does it have to do with others whether you can survive or not? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. If you didn't do those dirty things, would it be like this now? Hua Chunhua gave Zhao Baoshan a look. Old man, that's enough. Young Master Zheng is still here. Save some face for second brother. Chapter 2179. Even though young Master Zheng was old Zhao's son-in-law, the old Zhao family knew that they had to be careful in front of someone of young Master Zheng's status. Otherwise, young Master Zheng would laugh at them and leave a bad impression of the old Zhao family. Zhao Baoshan shut his mouth but gave Zhao Wenshui a warning look, hinting him to be careful and not ask for anything in front of young Master Zheng. It would make the old Zhao family look greedy and become a laughingstock. Zhao Wenshui was a coward to begin with. After being warned by Zhao Baoshan, he didn't dare to say anything else and could only shut his mouth resentfully. However, he was very unwilling. If he didn't say anything, Where would he get the money and where would he buy a wife? If he didn't have a wife, he wouldn't be able to live his life. Sigh. Zhao Wenshui sighed heavily in his heart. The more he thought about it, the more tragic he felt. How could other people's days be so happy while his days were getting worse and worse? Seeing that Zhao Wenshui didn't say anything else, Zhao Baoshan relaxed. The family sat in the courtyard, waiting for Zhao Yun to prepare the meal for lunch. As soon as Zhao Xinhui smelled the familiar aroma coming from the kitchen, she knew that Zhao Yun must have come to cook. She excitedly ran out of the house and approached Hua Chunhua. She asked Hua Chunhua, "Mother, is that Yun coming to cook?" Hua Chunhua was in a good mood, so she smiled and replied to Zhao Xinhui, "Wenshui, your nose is really sharp. You didn't see anyone, but just by smelling the aroma, you knew that Yun was cooking?" Zhao Xinhui smiled. "Of course, I have a good nose. Yun's cooking smells very special. Of course, I can smell it." Zhao Baoshan mocked him from the side. "How is your nose sharp? I think you're just gluttonous. I've never seen you so active and smart in other things." Zhao Xinhui felt wronged and complained to Zhao Baoshan, "Dad, why do you always scold me?" Hua Chunhua also defended Zhao Xinhui. "That's right, old man. Is there something wrong with your head? Why are you picking on Hui? I won't say any more, okay?" Zhao Baoshan waved his hand impatiently. Zhao Xinhui ignored Zhao Baoshan. Anyway, it wasn't the first time her father was like this. To put it bluntly, he just didn't like her. Zhao Xinhui pulled Hua Chunhua's hand and asked impatiently, "Mom, when will the food be ready? I'm starving to death." Zhao Xinhui touched her stomach as she spoke. Hua Chunhua said, "Yun just went to the kitchen to cook. There's a lot of food for lunch today, so it'll be difficult to finish it in a short time. Don't be anxious. Sit down and wait for a while." Upon hearing that they would have to wait for a long time, Zhao Xinhui was extremely anxious. Seeing that only Zhao Yun and Qian Hongzhao were busy in the kitchen, Zhao Xinhui urged Hua Chunhua, "Mom, don't just stand there. Why are you sitting in the yard? Go to the kitchen and help Yun with fourth sister-in-law. This way Yun will be able to work faster and I can eat earlier." Hua Chunhua was too lazy to work. After all, it was inconvenient for her to move around in her old age. Doing small things was tiring, so she naturally tried to be lazy when she could. Chapter 2180. Hua Chunhua frowned and said, "My legs are inconvenient, so I won't help you in the kitchen." Then she glanced at Feng Xianxia and said to her, "My eldest daughter-in-law, you're going to have lunch with us. Your fourth sister-in-law is helping Yun in the room. Why are you slacking off here?" Feng Xianxia pursed her lips and said, "Mother, it's enough to have 2 people working in the kitchen. If there are more people, it will be chaotic. I won't add to the trouble." Hua Chunhua spat on the ground and said, "Bah, I think you're too lazy. If you don't want to work, just don't. Why do you have to come up with so many excuses? You're the laziest among all the daughters-in-law. You should learn from your fourth sister-in-law and be more diligent." Feng Xianxia wasn't young anymore. She wasn't a child anymore. Therefore, she felt uncomfortable after Hua Chunhua scolded her. If Hua Chunhua was not her mother-in-law, she really wanted to argue with Hua Chunhua. Everyone in the old Zhao family knew that Zhao Xinhui was the laziest person in the family. She did not do any work, but she also asked for this and that. However, Hua Chunhua treated Zhao Xinhui as a treasure. Unfortunately, she did not have the courage to say these words. She knew Hua Chunhua's character very well. If she really said these facts, Hua Chunhua would be angry with her. "Mother, don't nag. I'll help in the kitchen, okay?" Feng Xianxia said as she went into the kitchen and cooked with Zhao Yun. On such a hot day, the 3 women squeezed into the kitchen. With the addition of the fire, each of them was suffocating and sweating. After working for about 2 hours, Zhao Yun finally finished preparing the meal. The men who had gone out to work also came back. Feng Xianxia asked Zhao Tianhu to go to Zhao Yun's house to inform them that dinner was ready. Zhao Yun and her family then went to old Zhao's house. Because there were so many people, 1 table was not enough, so they simply set up 2 tables. Each dish was divided into 2 portions and placed on the 2 tables. In this way, the men could sit together to drink, and the women and children could sit together to eat. After the dishes were placed on the table, old Zhao's family gathered together and began to eat. Usually, old Zhao's family rarely gathered together. If Zhao Jing had not come back this time, they might not have had this opportunity. Looking at the sumptuous food, young Master Zheng's house, which was rare. Although he did not have to worry about food and clothes, he had a lot of delicacies. And eats Zhao Yun's food. If Zhao Yun had not disagreed, he really wanted to marry this woman. Unfortunately, he did not have the fortune to taste Zhao Yun's cooking every day. This could be considered a rare opportunity for him. The food on the table was enough for a big meal. Young Master Zheng glanced at the dishes on the table, then his eyes fell on Zhao Yun. Although this woman was not that beautiful, at most delicate, she gave people a different kind of temperament, which was very attractive. Perhaps it was because he had never seen Zhao Yun's temperament in other women, so he felt that Zhao Yun was so special. He could not help but want to get close to Zhao Yun. Chapter 2181. She didn't like other men staring at her. After all, it was very impolite. She always felt uncomfortable when her every move fell into the eyes of others. However, young Master Zheng didn't avoid it at all. His gaze on her was somewhat unscrupulous. Could it be that all men were like this? They thought they had a good status and were thinking about all kinds of women around them. This young Master Zheng had married her cousin and was her cousin's husband. That meant he was her brother-in-law. How dare he stare at her like this? And young Master Zheng's eyes clearly revealed a message, that was he was interested in her. Zhao Yun met young Master Zheng's eyes. There was a hint of disgust in her eyes. Then she glared at young Master Zheng as a warning. However, young Master Zheng thought that Zhao Yun was hinting at something to him. Not only did he not withdraw his gaze, but he also smiled with great interest. Zhao Yun was angry. She secretly complained in her heart, how could there be such a man? If her cousin married young Master Zheng, apart from having a better material life, it would be better for her to marry an honest farmer. Zhao Yun seemed to have noticed young Master Zheng's movements and thoughts. There was a touch of loneliness in her eyes. Zhao Yun only felt wronged. Her cousin wouldn't have misunderstood something, right? She already had Mu Lianfeng. She wouldn't be interested in this man who was inferior to Mu Lianfeng in terms of appearance and family background. After all, she wasn't blind. She knew what kind of man was good and what kind was not. Once she abandoned a man like Mu Lianfeng, it wouldn't be so easy to get him again. Zhao Yun didn't want to think about it anymore. She turned her head away and returned to the woman's table to eat. After being busy for so long, she spent a lot of energy. Her stomach was already growling. She couldn't wait to eat more to replenish her strength. There were meat and vegetables on the table. Zhao Yun took the bowl and began to eat. The other people in old Zhao's family were also very hungry. In addition, Zhao Yun's food was delicious. They couldn't help but quickly eat. Young Master Zheng looked away from Zhao Yun in disappointment. After all, Zhao Yun was too lazy to pay attention to him, so he couldn't just stare at her. It was not easy to get this kind of special woman. Young Master Zheng, hurry up and eat. It won't taste good if it gets cold. I'll pour you another glass of wine. Come, let's drink together. Zhao Baoshan took the initiative to greet young Master Zheng. Young Master Zheng nodded. All right, let's eat together. Yeah. The meal was eaten very quickly, but everyone was satisfied with the meal. After all, such a meal was hard to come by. If it weren't for young Master Zheng's arrival, they probably wouldn't even be able to eat minced meat, let alone a meal with fish and meat. After the meal, young Master Zheng and Zhao Jing'er did not stay at old Zhao's place for long. Instead, they prepared to leave. Zhao Baoshan said, "Why don't you stay a little longer? We've just finished our meal. Why don't we take a rest? Anyway, there's no rush. We'll definitely be able to make it back in the afternoon." Young Master Zheng shook his head. "I still have things to do at home. I have to go back early to deal with them. I'll visit again when I have time." Hearing young Master Zheng's words, Zhao Baoshan felt embarrassed. All right then. Since young Master Zheng has something to do, I won't keep you any longer. I don't want to delay your business. Chapter 2182. It was not easy for Zhao Jing'er to come back to her parents' home, but she had to go back after only a few hours. Naturally, she was reluctant to leave. Although Zhao Wenshui was not a good person, Zhao Wenshui was her father after all. Zhao Jing'er could not bear to ignore him. Looking at Zhao Wenshui's miserable appearance, Zhao Jing'er said to Zhao Wenshui before leaving, "Father, since my mother is not with you, you have to be careful. Take good care of yourself and Tianyu." Zhao Wenshui, however, looked at Zhao Jing'er with a pitiful expression. "Jing'er, it's useless to just talk to me. You have to do something. Remember what I said to you. Help your father find a wife. Otherwise, I can't take good care of myself and Tianyu." Zhao Jing'er's face froze. She thought her father was just saying it casually, but now he mentioned it again. It was obvious that he really cared about it. Zhao Jing'er said with a sullen face, "Father, why don't you reflect on yourself and try to persuade my mother to come back so that she can live a good life with you? You even want to marry a wife. You're already so old. Don't you know shame? Do you want to buy a girl as old as me? Then you can be an old cow eating young grass." Zhao Jing'er was not polite at all. She did not leave Zhao Wenshui any face. Of course, she said that because she felt it was unfair to Li Chuing. It was fine that her father drove her mother away in anger, but now, he did not miss her mother at all and only thought about these dirty things. Zhao Wenshui was also embarrassed after being scolded by Zhao Jing'er so directly. After all, in front of old Zhao's family, he also wanted to save face. And Zhao Jing'er was his daughter. How could a daughter scold her father like that? Zhao Wenshui coughed softly and said to Zhao Jing'er, "How can you talk about your father like that? Am I that kind of person in your eyes? You know your mother's temper. It's harder to persuade her to come back than to pull 9 cows. Besides, I said I wanted to find a wife, not a young and beautiful one. Just find an older one, as long as she can take care of your father and Tianyu." Seeing Zhao Wenshui's self-righteous and shameless look, Zhao Jing'er was even more disappointed. "Father, how do you know you can't persuade my mother to come back without even trying? I think you just don't care about my mother. Alas, you are getting more and more insatiable. How can you talk about your father like that? You were born to your mother, weren't you? You only know how to think about your mother. Don't you feel sorry for your father?" Zhao Wenshui was a little anxious, his face full of displeasure. Zhao Jing'er took a deep breath and threw a look at Zhao Wenshui. "If you want to get a wife, go get one yourself. Anyway, I won't give you money to find another woman," Zhao Jing'er said and walked to young Master Zheng, who was already waiting for her outside old Zhao's yard. Zhao Wenshui wanted to stop Zhao Jing'er and ask her to make it clear. Why couldn't she give him money to get a wife? She was his daughter, and he was not doing well. Shouldn't she give him some money to help him? Otherwise, what was the use of raising a daughter for so many years? Old Zhao's family hurriedly stopped Zhao Wenshui. Chapter 2183. Zhao Wentao couldn't help but say this. Although he was only an uncle, he still couldn't stand Zhao Wenshui's behavior and felt that Zhao Wenshui had gone too far. Zhao Baoshan also said, "That's right. Don't you feel ashamed? You're a man, so what's the point of pestering your daughter for money? If you really want to marry a wife, you can earn your own money to marry her. No one will stop you and no one will criticize you." Zhao Wenshui suddenly became depressed. Let him earn his own money? Are you kidding me? He didn't have the ability, so how could he earn money? If he didn't rely on his daughter, he would probably starve to death, let alone earn money to marry a wife. "Father, Jing-er is my daughter. Why can't I ask her for money?" Zhao Wenshui couldn't help but grumble pitifully. Zhao Baoshan snorted coldly. "Oh, you're so useless." "Father, I'm useless. What's the use of being useless? As long as I have a good life, that's more important than anything else." Zhao Baoshan saw that Zhao Wenshui had no other ability, but he was good at twisting words and forcing logic. "I'm too lazy to talk to you. Zhao Baoshan replied to Zhao Wenxue angrily. Zhao Jing had already gotten into young Master Zheng's carriage. The carriage didn't stay for long and went straight away. Looking in the direction of the carriage, Zhao Wenxue sighed heavily. His daughter was really ruthless. She didn't seem to take what he just said to heart. He turned around and went back to the house in disappointment, thinking about how to get money. Anyway, he couldn't starve to death. When he was desperate, he would go directly to young Master Zheng's mansion. He didn't believe that young Master Zheng wouldn't give him money if he went to him personally. After Zhao Jing and young Master Zheng left, Zhao Yun and her family also went back. They rested for 2 hours at noon. In the afternoon, the sun went down a little, and the men in the family began to work in the fields again. Because Zhu Er's health wasn't good, Zhao Tianan helped Mu Lan's family harvest rice these days. After a few days of work, the grains were almost all harvested. Zhao Yun's family was finally busy with the harvest season, and the following period of time was a lot more relaxed. After the rice was harvested, the grains had to be removed from the stalks to be stored conveniently. Zhao Yun's family's several mu of fields, and they had harvested more than 1,000 kilograms of rice. But after they threw the husks away, the rice is probably only 800 or 900 kilograms. The rice paddies of ancient times were not like those of modern times. Now, not only were there hybrid rice paddies that could be planted, but they could also greatly increase the yield. Furthermore, modern fertilizers and pesticides were not available in ancient times. Because of this, in ancient times, the yield of grain per mu of land would be greatly reduced. Originally, in the 21st century, 1 mu of land could produce thousands of caddies of grain, but in ancient times, 1 mu of land could only produce a few hundred caddies of grain. In the event of natural disasters or drought, the rice's output would continue to shrink. It was already not easy for Zhao Yun's family to have their current output. Now that Zhao Yun's family had a lot of people, they didn't have to be as frugal as before. The rice harvested from the fields was definitely not enough for a year's rations. Fortunately, they had some money on hand. Even if they didn't have enough rations, they could still buy some rice. After the busy days were over, the family had some free time. The weather gradually entered autumn, and there was no longer the heat of the 6th and 7th lunar months. Chapter 2184. After all, it was their son's marriage, so Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua were very concerned about it. They also couldn't wait for Mu Hin to marry into their third branch as soon as possible, so that they could hold their grandchildren as soon as possible. Now that they were old, what they hoped for the most was for their children to start a family and start a career. If it was in the past, they would probably think more about it. Now that the third branch had money in their hands, they could casually buy all the things for the wedding. After Zhao Yun proposed it, Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua readily agreed. Zhao Yun asked for Zhao Tianan's opinion. After all, this was Zhao Tianan's marriage, so they had to get his consent before it could be arranged as soon as possible. Zhao Tianan didn't say anything, but his face was red, and he didn't say anything. Looking at Zhao Tianan's shy face, Zhao Yun knew that his younger brother was just embarrassed to say it. In fact, he also hoped that he could marry Mu Hin as soon as possible. After Zhao Yun and Mu Lan discussed it, Mu Lan also asked for Mu Hin's opinion. Mu Hin didn't refuse and had the same reaction as Zhao Tianan. Zhao Yun and Mu Lan tacitly began to arrange the marriage for Zhao Tianan and Mu Hin. Zhao Yun added some new clothes and jewelry that she had bought for Mu Hin before, and the gift money was also very appropriate. 66 taels of silver meant that everything would be smooth sailing. For Zhao Yun's family, 66 taels of silver was possible, but for the people in the countryside, 66 taels of silver was an astronomical figure. When an ordinary family married a wife, it was estimated that the gift money would be 5 or 6 taels. At most, it would be a dozen taels. If it was a poor family, it would be possible to give 2 or 3 taels. As for the other things, Zhao Yun and Mu Lan went shopping together. They used the donkey cart to bring back everything they needed. His family had specially prepared a new room. They had purchased new furniture and bedding as well as some other decorations. When the whole new house was decorated, it was definitely the first house in the village. There was no other house that looked better than Zhao Yun'er's new house. Looking at such a new house, Mulan couldn't help but feel envious. How comfortable it would be if you could live in a room like this. Beside the bed was a dressing table with a bronze mirror on it. The drawer contained some pretty jewelry and rouge. It was a piece of equipment that only rich families could have, but the country bumpkins were able to enjoy them. The date of the wedding was getting closer and closer. After their son's wedding, Mu Hin and Zhao Tianan could only follow wedding customs. Before the wedding, they could not meet each other for a period of time. They could only see each other on the day of the wedding. And this period of time was also the most difficult time between Zhao Tianan and Mu Hin. After all, they could see each other every day. Now that they were separated for more than 10 days, it was somewhat unbearable. Since they had nothing to do at home, they looked forward to seeing each other sooner. From time to time, Zhao Yuna would see Zhao Tianan's head poking into Mulan's courtyard. He was just short of directly looking for her. Every time she saw Zhao Tianan like this, Zhao Yuna wanted to laugh. Perhaps she hadn't experienced the feeling of not seeing each other for a day that felt like 3 years. Tianan, if you really want to see Mu Hin, go to Mulan's house to look for her. If you continue like this, your neck is going to break. Zhao Tianan's face suddenly became a little embarrassed. He said to Zhao Yun'er in embarrassment, "Sister, I just want to see her. There's no need to look for her." Chapter 2185. Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but laugh. Zhao Yun'er only thought of these things from the countryside as feudal superstitions and didn't really believe them. But you still can't see her like this. You can only go to Mulan's house to look for her. Zhao Tianan still shook his head. "Forget it, second sister. If I can't see her, then so be it. Even if I go to Mu Hin in the morning now, she definitely won't be willing to see me." Zhao Yun'er chuckled and patted Zhao Tianan's shoulder. "Then don't go. Anyway, it'll be time to get married in a few more days. You can look at her to your heart's content at night and make up for what you didn't see these days." Zhao Yun'er's teasing made Zhao Tianan's face redden even more. "Second sister, what are you saying?" Zhao Tianan thought that Zhao Yun'er was talking about the wedding night when only he and Mu Hin would be left. The two of them would definitely see each other and do embarrassing things. Zhao Yun'er was slightly stunned. Then, she realized what Zhao Tianan was thinking and laughed even more teasingly. "Tianan, second sister really didn't mean anything. Don't think too much about it. You're the one who's thinking dirty now." "Second sister?" Zhao Tianan lowered his head and blushed to the tips of his ears. Zhao Yun'er saw Zhao Tian's appearance and sighed in her heart. In the 21st century, it was really rare to see such a pure little boy. That shy way of lowering his head was somewhat cute. Sure enough, only a beautiful and considerate sister like her could have such a cute little brother. No one knew what Zhao Yun'er was thinking at this time. Otherwise, there would definitely be someone who would stand up and scold her for being shameless. Just then, there was some movement outside the courtyard. Little Hay was barking madly at the outside, as if it had seen some enemy. Hearing Little Hay's barking, Zhao Yun'er knew who had come over. Apart from Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan, there was no one else who could cause Little Hay to be so resentful and hostile. Why did these two people come here today? Now that he saw Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan, he had a headache. When Zhao Tianan saw Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan, he said to Zhao Yun'er, "Second sister, eldest sister and eldest brother-in-law are here." Zhao Yun'er nodded and left the courtyard. Because Little Hay was guarding the gate, Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan didn't dare to go forward. They just stood far away, afraid that Little Hay would rush out and bite them. Seeing Zhao Yun'er and Zhao Tianan coming out of the house, Zhao Ping'er hurriedly shouted, "Zhao Yun'er, hurry up and get rid of your damn dog." "Yo, older sister Ping'er, I haven't seen you in a long time. What are you here for this time? You are a busy person now, and your business is very good. Where would you find the time to come to my place?" Zhao Yun'er's words carried a bit of sarcasm, and her tone was not very good. Of course, Zhao Yun'er simply didn't want Zhao Ping'er to come over. During this period of time, Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan had the best lives. The restaurant Zhao Ping'er opened in Yang City was doing very well. Because the chef she hired was good at cooking, and in addition to the previous signature pig offal, there was an endless stream of people coming to the restaurant every day. With this good business, they naturally earned more money. In such a short period of time, the restaurant had already earned several hundred taels of silver. Today, Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan were dressed very differently from before. Chapter 2186. It was a pity that her face was too pitiful to look at. Even if she wore nice clothes, she still looked shabby. Zhao Yun'er, on the other hand, pitied the clothes that Zhao Ping'er was wearing. It was such a waste. If someone else were to wear these clothes, they would look so good. In addition, Zhao Ping'er also bought a lot of jewelry. It was obvious that this restaurant alone had brought a lot of benefits to the family Qin. Qin Yuan, on the other hand, was dressed like a rich young master. Qin Yuan was already delicate, and after dressing up a little, he looked very handsome. He was a little different from before. If he went out like this, he would probably attract the attention of many young girls and attract the favor of many women. The two of them originally only traveled by donkey cart. Zhao Ping'er was greedy and bought a donkey with great difficulty. It was a stupid donkey, and it would occasionally cause problems on the road. Now that they had money, they directly abandoned the donkey and bought a carriage. Although it was not a very luxurious carriage, it was very rare for a country bumpkin to be able to ride a carriage. If they did not know Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan's identities, most people would think that they were from a rich family. Zhao Ping'er pursed her lips and replied unhappily, "My restaurant is very busy, so I don't have time to come here. But I heard from Xiao Feng that Tianan is about to get married. As the big sister, I should come and give some money, right?" Zhao Yun'er sneered, "Big sister Ping, can't you just ask Ma Xiaofeng to bring the money back? Why do you have to come here personally?" To put it bluntly, now that they were rich, she wanted to make him jealous. Recently, Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan were the same kind of people. They both loved to show off, afraid that others would not know that they were rich now and were living well. It was really as the saying went, the more they did not have before, the more they wanted to show off after they had it. This time, Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan came here in a carriage and dressed up. It was clear that they had prepared meticulously. There were very few carriages in the village on a daily basis. Their arrival would naturally attract the attention of the villagers. This way, they could let others know and gain their attention. Then they could show off. Zhao Ping'er glared at Zhao Yun'er angrily. "Zhao Yun, no one can beat you in terms of eloquence. I specially came here to give Tianan money as a gift. Doesn't that mean I value Tianan as his elder sister? My good intentions are truly unrequited. Can't you see that I wasted a lot of effort?" Zhao Yun'er replied bluntly, "Sister Ping'er, you know what you're thinking. I'm too lazy to talk to you. Hurry up and get rid of your damn dog. I want to go in," Zhao Ping'er said in a commanding tone. Now that she felt that she had earned enough money and was living a prosperous life, she was confident in her words. She was not like before, when she was somewhat submissive. Now she was arrogant. Zhao Yun'er said to Little Black, "Little Black, move aside first. Let them in." Little Black understood Zhao Yun'er's meaning. He softly whimpered a few times and did not continue to bark. Zhao Ping'er proudly walked into Zhao Yun'er's courtyard. Qin Yuan followed behind her. "Where's mother?" Zhao Ping'er was a little disappointed when she did not see Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua. Chapter 2187. How could Zhao Yun'er not see through Zhao Ping'er's thoughts? She calmly replied to Zhao Ping'er, "Father and mother are resting in the house. Now that you're pregnant, you should rest more." Zhao Ping'er then said to Zhao Yun'er in a commanding tone, "Then quickly go and call father and mother out. Since I'm here today, they have to see me, right?" Zhao Yun'er was a little speechless. She faintly ridiculed, "Zhao Ping'er, are you dreaming or what? How shameless are you to make father and mother come out to see you in person? Didn't you just come here to send a gift money? Now that you're here, just put down the gift money. Don't just think about causing trouble in front of father and mother." Zhao Ping'er was unconvinced and retorted, "Zhao Yun'er, what do you mean? Father and mother didn't say that they don't want to see me. You just don't want to see me well. Sister Pinga, if there's something wrong with your brain, you can go see a doctor. Don't even know that you're suffering from paranoia. Zhao Pinga realized that she couldn't out-talk Zhao Yun. Not only did she not gain the upper hand with her words, but she also accumulated a belly full of anger. Thus, she was a little angry and said, "If you don't want to go, then forget it. I'll go by myself." However, Zhao Yuner suddenly blocked Zhao Pinger's way. She waited in front of Zhao Pinger and replied unhappily, "Mother is sleeping now. Won't you wake her up if you run over? If she's awake, then she's awake. Can't she continue to sleep later? It's not easy for me to come here. You should let father and mother see me, right?" "No." Zhao Yuner coldly refused. "I want to go in." Zhao Pinger pretended to want to force her way in. However, her little bit of strength was nothing in front of Zhao Yuner. Zhao Yuner gently pushed Zhao Pinger, and Zhao Pinger fell to the ground, unable to get up. The most pitiful part of this fall wasn't the pain from the fall, but Zhao Pinger's heart ached for her clothes. Her clothes were very expensive and cost her 2 taels of silver. It was definitely rare to see such expensive clothes in the countryside. If it was damaged or torn, she would lose 2 taels of silver. Zhao Pinger quickly got up from the ground and checked her body. She saw that her clothes were in perfect condition. After confirming that she was fine, Zhao Pinger heaved a heavy sigh of relief. "Fortunately, it's fine." Then she raised her head in displeasure and looked at Zhao Yuner. She angrily questioned Zhao Yuner, "Zhao Yuner, aren't you going too far? If you tear my expensive clothes, you'll have to compensate me." Zhao Yuner rolled her eyes at Zhao Pinger and coldly said, "Who told you to insist on barging in? This is my home. I said that you're not allowed to enter, so you're not allowed to enter. If you insist on forcing your way in, then don't blame me for what happens next. As for your clothes, don't come looking for me if they're damaged. In any case, I won't compensate you. Even if I find someone to reason with, it's your fault first. Who told you to enter my house without my permission? You." Zhao Pinger was so angry that her kidneys hurt. If her clothes were damaged and Zhao Pinger really didn't want to accompany her, she had no other choice. Who told Zhao Yuner's backer to be Mu Lianfeng? With Mu Lianfeng around, who would dare to come looking for trouble? Zhao Pinger originally wanted to enter the house, but she was afraid that Zhao Yuner would continue to make a move on her. At that time, not only would she not be able to enter, her clothes would also be damaged by Zhao Yun. She would have to pay 2 taels of silver for nothing. Chapter 2188. Zhao Yun sneered and replied, "It's best if you don't care. Anyway, I don't expect Sister Pinger to care." Zhao Pinger's face darkened and she muttered, "Isn't it just a rundown house? What's so great about it? I'm going to build a bigger house than this." "No, who would want to build a house in the village? It's boring to stay in such a godforsaken place. It won't be long before I can save enough money to buy a big house in Yang City. Living in the city is much more comfortable than living in the countryside. I can buy whatever I want and eat immediately. It's not like in a godforsaken village where it's difficult to even buy a kilogram of pork." The more Zhao Pinger spoke, the more smug she became. It was as if she could immediately see the scene when she moved into a big house in Yang City. Zhao Yuner replied coldly, "Sister Pinger, if you're not wrong, little aunt will also move in after you buy a big house in Yang City. Sigh, with little aunt around, I'm sure Sister Pinger's life won't be so easy. In my opinion, living in a big house might not be as comfortable as living in the countryside now." Zhao Yuner's words were like a thorn in Zhao Pinger's heart. However, Zhao Yuner was right. Zhao Xinhui was still living in old Zhao's house because she had not saved enough money to buy a house in Yang City. Family Qin's rundown house was even worse than old Zhao's house. Zhao Xinhui was naturally willing to continue living in old Zhao's house. However, it would be different once she bought a house in Yang City. Zhao Xinhui would definitely be very happy to live in a comfortable big house in Yang City. If she and Qin Yuan moved in, Zhao Xinhui would move in as well. In Qin Yuan's eyes, Zhao Xinhui was far more important than her. If she lived with Zhao Xinhui and stayed with the same man, Zhao Xinhui would definitely target her. Just like when she was in old Zhao's house, Zhao Xinhui would bully her in all kinds of ways and make her work. Thinking of this, all of Zhao Ping's beautiful expectations were shattered by Zhao Yun's words. Seeing Zhao Ping's sullen face, Zhao Yun knew that she had touched the bottom of Zhao Ping's heart. Sister Ping, if you have the time to look for trouble with me, why don't you think of a way to deal with little aunt? After all, Qin Yuan is your husband, and you are his legal wife. How can you let your sister-in-law take advantage of you? You've been living with Qin Yuan for a long time. How can you let your sister-in-law join in and enjoy life with Qin Yuan? Zhao Yun's words were somewhat provocative. She knew that Zhao Ping was simple-minded, and Zhao Ping would listen to what she said now. For Zhao Ping, Qin Yuan was her weakness. Thinking that Zhao Ping and Zhao Xinhui might have something to do with each other, Zhao Yun was secretly pleased. These two women would definitely fight among themselves, and there would be a lot of interesting things. However, she could watch from the sidelines. Zhao Yun, I don't want you to meddle in my affairs, Zhao Ping replied angrily. Zhao Ping deliberately stood in the courtyard and made some noise because she was unwilling to see Liang Jinqiao and Zhao Wenhua. Mother, I'm here. Why didn't you come out to see me when you were resting in the room? Zhao Ping, shut up. If you make any more noise, I'll let little black bite you, Zhao Yun impatiently said to Zhao Ping. Chapter 2189. Zhao Yun stretched out her hand and said to Zhao Ping, didn't you come to give the gift money today? Leave the gift money and you can leave. Zhao Yun really didn't want to let Zhao Ping continue to stay in her house, so she simply chased her away. Zhao Ping was a little unhappy. At this moment, Little Black was baring its teeth at her with a threatening look. Zhao Ping snorted coldly in her heart. Sure enough, a dog was relying on its master's power to bully others. Why was Little Black so smart? It cooperated well with Zhao Yun, no matter what she said. She replied to Zhao Yun, unhappily, Tianan is getting married. The gift money will naturally be given to Tianan. What's the big deal about giving it to you? All right then, give it to Tianan. After you're done, hurry up and get lost, Zhao Yun urged impatiently. I still want to say a few words to Tianan. After all, I'm his biological sister. Since he's getting married, I have a few words to say to him. Zhao Yun couldn't stop her. Then hurry up and say it. After you're done, get lost. Don't dawdle and waste time. Got it. Zhao Ping also replied with some displeasure. Then she looked at Zhao Tianan and had Zhao Tianan wave her hand. Tianan, big sister has something to say to you. Go ahead. Not here. If someone hears, let's go somewhere else to talk. This. Zhao Tianan looked at Zhao Yun at the side, seeking her opinion. After seeing Zhao Yun nod in agreement, Zhao Tianan followed Zhao Ping to the back of the courtyard. Big sister, what do you have to say to me? Zhao Tianan asked curiously. Usually, his relationship with his big sister wasn't very good, and they didn't talk much. At this moment, he was very curious about what Zhao Ping wanted to say to him that couldn't be in front of Zhao Yun. Zhao Ping took out a red packet from her sleeve and handed it to Zhao Tianan. Here, Tianan, take it. This is big sister and brother-in-law's kind intentions. Zhao Tianan opened his mouth in surprise when he saw that there was one tael of silver in the red packet. After all, a few dozen copper coins was enough as a gift for a wedding. Zhao Tianan's one tael of silver was definitely a lot. Zhao Tianan hurriedly declined. Big sister, no, this money is too much. You should give less. I can't accept so much. Zhao Ping forced the red packet into Zhao Tianan's hands. Tianan, big sister, has earned a lot of money these days. You finally got married, and it's a joyous occasion. Giving more money as a gift is big sister's kind intentions. Don't refuse anymore. Otherwise, wouldn't you be betraying big sister's good intentions? Zhao Tianan frowned in confusion. But big sister, this one tael of silver is still too much. If father and mother knew, they definitely wouldn't let me accept it. Zhao Ping chuckled. I say, Tianan, why are you so honest? If father and mother ask, just say that it's just a few dozen copper coins. Keep the rest of the money for yourself as a private stash. When you get married, how can you not have some spare money? You can't have to ask father and mother for anything you want to buy, right? Zhao Tianan lowered his head and stared at the tael of silver in his hand. He muttered, "Big sister, we have everything at home. I don't have anything I want to buy. I definitely don't need to use my private stash." Zhao Ping chuckled and teased Zhao Tianan, "Tianan, my good little brother, big sister has been through this before. You're right to believe me." Chapter 2190. Eldest sister. Seeing that Zhao Tianan still wanted to decline, Zhao Ping pulled a long face. "Tianan, if you say any more, eldest sister will be angry. Isn't it just one tael of silver as a wedding gift? What's the big deal?" Eldest sister and eldest brother-in-law now own a restaurant, and the money they earn in a day is much more than this. One tael of silver isn't a big sum to us now, so it's fine if you take it. Only then did Zhao Tianan reluctantly accept it, but his heart was very uneasy. He wanted to give this one tael of silver to Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua, but he was afraid that when the time came, his parents would scold him and say that he shouldn't have accepted this gift money. Just as Zhao Tianan was struggling with what to do, Zhao Ping said, "Tianan, there's one more thing that everyone wants to talk to you about. Eldest sister, what's the matter?" Zhao Ping sighed and looked up to ask Zhao Tianan, "Tianan, do you really want to get married?" Zhao Tianan was slightly stunned. "Eldest sister, what do you mean? You like that Mu Hin?" Zhao Tianan nodded in response. When she mentioned Mu Hin, he was a little shy. "Tianan, didn't you used to like Xiaofeng? Could it be that you've forgotten Xiaofeng so quickly? Because you're getting married soon." Xiaofeng was very sad when she found out. "I really couldn't bear to see her like that. Tianan, eldest sister understands women better than you do. Mu Hin is far inferior to Xiaofeng. Fortunately, you're not married now, so you still have a chance to choose. When you're really married, it'll be too late. If you still like Xiaofeng, go and tell father and mother that you don't like Mu Hin, that you don't want to marry Mu Hin, and that you want to be with Xiaofeng." Zhao Ping instigated Zhao Tianan. The purpose of her visit today was to say these words to Zhao Tianan. After listening to Zhao Ping's words, Zhao Tianan's face suddenly sank, and he immediately rejected Zhao Ping with righteous words. "Big sister, what nonsense are you talking about? This won't do." "Why not?" Zhao Ping asked anxiously. "What's so good about Mu Hin? In my opinion, he can't even compare to one of Xiaofeng's fingers. Tianan, you seem to be an honest person. Why did you have a change of heart so quickly? How long had it been?" He had already fallen in love with Mu Hin and cast Xiaofeng aside. "What a lowly vixen. Back then I deliberately seduced you, but in the end, you fell for it. Sai, you're so silly. Big sister is doing this for your own good. You have to think about what big sister said." Zhao Tianan originally had a good attitude towards Zhao Ping, but after hearing Zhao Ping's words, his face immediately sank. He said to Zhao Ping with some displeasure, "Big sister, don't talk nonsense. Mu Hin isn't the kind of person you're talking about. She's a good girl. I have to be responsible for her, so I definitely have to marry her. As for me and Xiaofeng, that's a matter of the past. I did like Xiaofeng in the past, but now the only person I like is Mu Hin. Moreover, even if I like Xiaofeng, I've already arranged a marriage with Mu Hin. Both families have already discussed and prepared for it. If I were to break off the engagement at this time, wouldn't Mu Hin be wronged? If the man breaks off the engagement before they even get married, she'll definitely be laughed at in the future. Now that I've grown up, I'm a man. I have to be responsible for my actions. I can't hurt a girl for nothing." When Zhao Ping heard this, she felt that Zhao Tianan was stubborn and had been bewitched by Mu Hin. Chapter 2191. Big sis, there's nothing between Xiaofeng and me anymore. I want to be together with Mu Hin. No matter which one of them I choose, I'll definitely let one of them down. There's no way to have the best of both worlds. Big sis, don't make things difficult for me. I've already made things clear with Xiaofeng previously. Zhao Tianan's expression was also a little ugly. Regarding Mu Hin and Ma Xiaofeng, anyone was clear on how to handle the relationship between these two people. In the past, he liked Ma Xiaofeng. In the end, he realized that it was still more relaxing to be together with Mu Hin. Furthermore, he had already touched Mu Hin's body. He could not be an irresponsible man. When Zhao Ping heard Zhao Tianan's words, her body trembled in anger. She pointed at Zhao Tianan. Tianan, you'll regret missing out on such a good girl like Xiaofeng. Big sis, if I want to be together with Xiaofeng, I'll also regret missing out on Mu Hin. As for Xiaofeng, I believe that such a good girl like her will find an even better man. Zhao Tianan's words already revealed his determination. Zhao Ping'er knew that her persuasion was hopeless and could only say, "Oh, since you insist on being together with Mu Hin, I can't stop you. I just hope that you won't regret it." Zhao Ping'er turned around impatiently. Zhao Tianan saw that Zhao Ping'er's expression was ugly and asked weakly, "Big sis, are you leaving?" "Of course I'm leaving. If I don't leave, should I still stay here? Anyway, you're just a rock. No matter what I say, you won't move." Big sis, Zhao Ping'er did not waste her breath. Her mood was very bad. She walked out from the back of the house, and Zhao Tianan followed behind resentfully. Zhao Yun'er glanced at the two of them. She was a little suspicious. What exactly happened? "Big brother Yun, let's go." Zhao Ping'er went to the front of Qin Yuan and said in a sweet voice, "Okay." Qin Yuan nodded. The two of them didn't go back to the family Qin, but went to old Zhao's house. Qin Yuan had been busy with the restaurant these days, so it was rare for them to have time. This time, following Zhao Ping'er's wishes, he came over as her brother-in-law to give Zhao Tianan some money as a gift. After that, he couldn't wait to go to old Zhao's house and take some time to meet Zhao Xinhui. This time, he brought a lot of good things to old Zhao's house. He even bought a golden hairpin for Zhao Xinhui, which cost more than 10 taels of silver. The hairpin was exquisitely made and was bought from the most famous jewelry shop in Sun City. Usually, only the rich people of Sun City would buy them. Ordinary people didn't have the ability to buy it even if they wanted to. After all, a single piece of jewelry could cost more than an ordinary person could earn in a lifetime. Although Zhao Ping wasn't happy and wanted to hurry back to the family Qin, she knew that Qin Yuan was going for Zhao Xinhui. She couldn't stop him. Who asked her to like Qin Yuan? Everything had to go along with Qin Yuan's wishes. However, going to old Zhao's house this time was also good. They bought such a luxurious carriage and had yet to show it off in front of old Zhao's house. This time, they could go to old Zhao's house to show it off and make others envious. "Hey, big brother Yuan, where did this hairpin come from? It's so pretty." Qin Yuan accidentally took out the hairpin from his pocket and it fell out. Zhao Ping'er's sharp eyes noticed it. Zhao Ping'er happily picked it up from the ground. She held it in her hands and looked at it. Then she looked at Qin Yuan with a blissful expression. "Big brother Yuan, are you preparing to give such a pretty hairpin to me?" Chapter 2192. Qin Yuan immediately snatched the hairpin from Zhao Ping'er's hands. He glanced at it indifferently and said to Zhao Ping'er, "Zhao Ping'er, don't waste God's gift recklessly. It's simply a waste for such a beautiful hairpin to be worn on your head." Zhao Ping'er's originally joyous face immediately sank, and a hint of loneliness appeared in her eyes. "Big brother Yuan, are you really not giving this hairpin to me? Then who is it for?" Zhao Ping'er asked somewhat dejectedly. Qin Yuan had a straight face. He stuffed the hairpin into his sleeve and said to Zhao Ping'er, "Of course it's for your little aunt. Who else could it be for?" Although Zhao Ping'er had expected a reluctant answer, hearing Qin Yuan say it with her own ears gave her a different feeling. Nowadays, Qin Yuan only knew how to think about Zhao Xinhui. He would think of Zhao Xinhui first whenever he had something good. Such a beautiful golden hairpin was obviously expensive. The jewelry that she had bought was not even a tenth of Zhao Xinhui's. One could imagine how much weight she had in Qin Yuan's heart. She was also not even a tenth of Zhao Xinhui's. When she thought of this, Zhao Ping became even angrier. Big brother Yuan, aren't you treating little aunt too well? How much money did you spend on this golden hairpin? It's only right that I treat little aunt well. Our restaurant was able to open because of little aunt. If it weren't for little aunt, would we be able to earn so much money like we are now? Buying more things for little aunt now is a form of repayment, understand? Zhao Ping, how can a woman like you have any objections? Zhao Ping, was clear that Qin Yuan was only using this as an excuse to protect Zhao Xinhui. Even if Zhao Xinhui did not invest in the restaurant, he was willing to put the best things in front of Zhao Xinhui after receiving the money. She could only choose not to pursue the matter further. Otherwise, she would be even sadder and make Qin Yuan feel uncomfortable with her. While they were talking, the carriage had already arrived in front of old Zhao's house. Qin Yuan jumped out of the car and took out a lot of things he bought. Hu Chunhua caught a glimpse of the things in Qin Yuan's hands and immediately came out to greet him. She was very polite to Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan, you haven't been here for a long time. Why did you bring so many things with you? Hu Chunhua pretended to be concerned and asked. As she spoke, she couldn't wait to take the things from the novice. Qin Yuan had brought some longans, red dates, brown sugar, and precious pastries. It was obvious that they were all valuable. Hu Chunhua felt that she had earned a lot. While she was excited, she became more polite to Qin Yuan. It was completely different from the cold attitude she used to treat Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan smiled and said, "Grandma, the restaurant's business has been very busy these days. I didn't have time, so I found some time to come and see you today. It's rare for me to come, so I can't come empty-handed. I must bring more things." Hu Chunhua nodded quickly. According to Qin Yuan's words, Qin Yuan's restaurant must have been doing well these days and made a lot of money. With so much money, wouldn't she and her daughter live a happy life together with Qin Yuan in the future? You're so considerate. You have a good heart. You're so filial. Hu Chunhua praised him again and again. Seeing that Hu Chunhua's attitude had changed so much, Qin Yuan was in a good mood. He smiled and replied, "It's my duty. You're my elder, and this is my aunt's mother. If I'm not filial to you, who else can I be filial to?" Chapter 2193. Qin Yuan could not wait to see Zhao Xinhui, so he showed the hairpin in his hand to Zhao Xinhui. When Zhao Xinhui saw it, she would definitely be very happy and smile at him. "Your aunt is sleeping in the room. Shall I go in and call her out?" Hu Chunhua said as she made a move to enter Zhao Xinhui's room. Qin Yuan hurriedly waved his hand. "Grandma, forget it. Don't call for my aunt. I'll go in and look for her." If it were in the past, Hu Chunhua would definitely not agree. Now that Qin Yuan suggested it, Hu Chunhua did not stop him at all. "All right, go ahead." Hu Chunhua's straightforward attitude made Qin Yuan feel a little unreal. Now, he increasingly felt that it was good to be rich. People would only look up to you if you were rich. It was not like when he came to old Zhao's house previously, he only received supercilious looks. Their family Qin was poor at that time, so it was normal for the poor to be bullied and supercilious looks. Zhao Ping was a little unhappy. "Grandma, brother Yuan, that's my aunt's room. It's not very good for you to go in, right?" Hu Chunhua glared at Zhao Ping. "What's not good about it? Anyway, no one will see. If you don't say it out loud, who will know?" "That's right. Anyway, there's only one family in the courtyard. No one will know." Qin Yuan followed behind Hu Chunhua and replied. "Then brother Yuan, I want to go in too." Zhao Ping wanted to follow Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan sternly refused. "Zhao Ping, what are you doing in here? Just sit in the courtyard and wait for me. I have something to tell your aunt. How are we going to talk if you come in?" Although Zhao Ping was unhappy, she could only listen to Qin Yuan's instructions and wait in the courtyard. Qin Yuan chose to rush into Zhao Xinhui's room. At this time, Zhao Xinhui was lying on the bed sleeping. She was only wearing a doo-doo, and her smooth arms were exposed. Zhao Xinhui's skin was much smoother and fairer than Zhao Ping's. Qin Yuan caught a glimpse of Zhao Xinhui's beautiful face and couldn't help but gulp. Then he walked over to Zhao Xinhui and sat on Zhao Xinhui's bed. Qin Yuan lowered his body and sniffed Zhao Xinhui's body. He smelled the faint fragrance of a woman. Not only was Zhao Xinhui prettier than Zhao Ping, but her body also smelled better than Zhao Ping. When Qin Yuan got closer and closer, he couldn't help but touch Zhao Xinhui's skin with his hands. Then he gently pecked Zhao Xinhui's face. Qin Yuan touched his lips and revealed a blissful expression. Qin Yuan's movements woke Zhao Xinhui up. When Zhao Xinhui opened her eyes, she was shocked to see Qin Yuan's face. It's me. Qin Yuan comforted her gently. Why are you in my room? Zhao Xinhui was a little puzzled. I finished my business at the restaurant and rushed over to see you. Qin Yuan smiled fawningly and answered. Zhao Xinhui frowned and muttered unhappily, now you know to come and see me. I thought you forgot about me. After all, you're rich now and there are many beautiful women around you. Who knows if you'll fall in love with another woman? Chapter 2194. Zhao Xinhui looked at Qin Yuan suspiciously, as if she didn't believe Qin Yuan's words. Really? Qin Yuan raised his hand and swore. Of course it's true. How could I lie to you? If it weren't for the fact that the restaurant is too busy and I can't find the time, I really want to see you every day. You don't know how much I miss you after not seeing you for so long. But right now, the restaurant is the most important thing. Only when we earn enough money can we buy a big house in Yang City. When the time comes, we can live a good life in Yang City with you. Now that the restaurant is so busy, you also want to see how much money we earn every day, right? Zhao Xinhui was silent for a moment. The busier the restaurant was, the better it would be. This was because the busier the restaurant was, the better the business would be, which also meant that they could earn more money. But you still shouldn't have taken so long to come and see me. Zhao Xinhui muttered. At this moment, she no longer had the resentment from before. Instead, it was as if she had been wronged and was acting coquettishly. Qin Yuan coaxed her. I know I was wrong. I also wanted to come and see you earlier. In the future, I will definitely find more time to come. When we buy a big house in Yang City, we won't have to go through so much trouble. Alright, I also brought you a gift today. See if you like it. As Qin Yuan spoke, he took out a golden hairpin from his sleeve. I specially bought this for you at Jubao Pavilion. Didn't you say that you liked jewelry from Jubao Pavilion? See if you like what I picked for you. Zhao Xinhui took the golden hairpin. The unique and exquisite design was very beautiful. Women would naturally like it when they saw it. Zhao Xinhui didn't expect Qin Yuan to be so thoughtful. He even remembered that she had said that she liked jewelry from Jubao Pavilion. I like it. Zhao Xinhui's face bloomed with a brilliant smile as she said to Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan's heart rippled for a moment. It's good that you like it. I'm a big man, so I don't know how to pick these pieces of jewelry. I just picked the ones that I think look good. Before I gave it to you, I was worried that you wouldn't like it. If you don't like it, I'll have to give you something else. I like it, of course I like it. How could I not like such a beautiful hairpin? Zhao Xinhui smiled and was in a good mood. By the way, Qin Yuan, Jubao Pavilion's jewelry is very expensive. You must have spent a lot of money on this golden hairpin, right? Zhao Xinhui began to feel sorry for the money. What she needed to do now was not to spend extravagantly, but to save up the money she earned. That way, she could buy a big house in Yang City and move in sooner. Otherwise, it would be really boring to stay in the countryside where even birds don't shit. It cost me more than 10 taels. It's not that expensive, Qin Yuan replied. Zhao Xinhui pursed his lips. A dozen taels isn't expensive? How many years would it take for an ordinary family to save up a dozen taels of silver? Qin Yuan chuckled. Although a dozen taels of silver is a large sum, I think it's worth it to spend it on you. You're so good, so you should have the best things in the world. When I earn more money in the future, I'll buy all the good things for you. Hearing Qin Yuan's sweet words, Zhao Xinhui's heart also felt sweet. Here, put it on for me. Zhao Xinhui stuffed the hairpin into Qin Yuan's hands. Chapter 2195. How is it? Does it look good? Zhao Xinhui asked shyly. Qin Yuan looked at Zhao Xinhui affectionately and nodded. It looks good. Hui, such a beautiful hairpin should be matched with someone as beautiful as you. The more I look at it, the more beautiful it is. It's worth it no matter how much money I spend. Zhao Xinhui was very happy to be coaxed by Qin Yuan. Then, she said to Qin Yuan, when did you learn to be like those men who like to sweet talk so much? Andy, I'm not. I'm obviously telling the truth. There's no sweet talk at all. Zhao Xinhui smiled shyly. Then, she lowered her head and snuggled into Qin Yuan's arms. She asked in a sweet voice, Qin Yuan, what's so good about me? Why do you like me so much? Now that you're rich, you can find other beautiful women if you want. Why do you still want to be with me? Qin Yuan quickly interrupted Zhao Xinhui. Hui, don't let your imagination run wild. No matter how beautiful other women are, it has nothing to do with me. You're the only woman in my heart. From now on, I'll only treat you well. Zhao Xinhui was touched. When Qin Yuan was poor, he said that he liked her and loved her. He treated her well because he had no other choice. But now that Qin Yuan was rich, he could still maintain this attitude. This meant that she held a very important place in Qin Yuan's heart. Qin Yuan, you're so good. Zhao Xinhui hugged Qin Yuan even tighter. With a beautiful woman in his arms, Zhao Xinhui's body fragrance wafted into Qin Yuan's nostrils. Qin Yuan was a man after all. How could he not have any thoughts when hugging the woman he loved? His throat moved and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Then he hugged Zhao Xinhui even tighter. Qin Yuan murmured. What's wrong? Zhao Xinhui asked. Can I have you? Qin Yuan's heart was moved, and he blurted out these words. After he finished speaking, he felt that he might have been rude. He was afraid that he would scare Zhao Xinhui, so he stammered nervously, I was just agitated. Please don't blame me. Looking at Qin Yuan's flushed face, Zhao Xinhui couldn't help but burst into laughter. Why would I blame you? You didn't do anything wrong. I was rude. Actually, it's not impossible if you want it, Zhao Xinhui said in a low voice. Ever since Zhao Xinhui parted ways with young Master Huang, it had been a long time since he had experienced such pleasure, so he was looking forward to it. After all, if a woman hadn't done it for a long time, her heart would itch. This was similar to a man. But sometimes, a woman's desire may be more terrifying than a man's. She hadn't done it for 2 or 3 months, so it wouldn't hurt to do it with Qin Yuan once. She could satisfy Qin Yuan and feel refreshed at the same time. Qin Yuan looked up in surprise. He looked at Zhao Xinhui and said, really? Is it really okay? Zhao Xinhui nodded heavily and replied, really. You like me so much and we've been together for a long time. It's okay if I give it to you. Qin Yuan couldn't contain his excitement. He thought he had heard wrong, but he didn't expect it to be true. Qin Yuan pinched his face hard and groaned in pain. Chapter 2196. Seeing Qin Yuan's silly behavior, Zhao Xinhui couldn't help but criticize Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan grinned. I want to see if I'm dreaming. It feels like a dream. It's a little unreal. Zhao Xinhui was amused by Qin Yuan and laughed. You fool. Qin Yuan chuckled. I'm just too happy. After laughing, Qin Yuan didn't forget about today's serious business. He hurriedly moved closer to Zhao Xinhui and kissed Zhao Xinhui on the lips. Qin Yuan and Zhao Ping had been together for a long time. Although he had touched Zhao Ping's body, he had never kissed Zhao Ping on the lips. If you didn't love someone, you would feel disgusted if you kissed them. However, it was different for Zhao Xinhui. Qin Yuan truly loved this woman in his heart. Kissing Zhao Xinhui on the lips also gave him a very different feeling. Zhao Xinhui's lips were soft, small, and had a sweet taste. It made him want to continue kissing her. Just like that, Qin Yuan hugged and kissed Zhao Xinhui for a long time. His body became hotter and hotter. When the conditions were right, Qin Yuan's large hands reached under Zhao Xinhui's dudu. Huika. Qin Yuan whispered in Zhao Xinhui's ear. Zhao Xinhui's heart skipped a beat. Then her whole body became hotter and hotter. Qin Yuan, hurry up. Zhao Xinhui couldn't take it anymore and hurriedly urged him. But Qin Yuan was also a little impatient. He rubbed his hands and quickly undid Zhao Xinhui's belt. Then he began to take off her other clothes. After taking off Zhao Xinhui's clothes, Qin Yuan couldn't wait to loosen his belt. Qin Yuan, hurry up. Zhao Xinhui didn't feel ashamed and continued to urge. She had already experienced many things and was not the kind of young lady who did not know anything. Even if she was naked in front of Qin Yuan, Zhao Xinhui did not feel embarrassed. After taking off his clothes, Qin Yuan couldn't wait to get on the bed. I'm here, Qin Yuan said excitedly. Qin Yuan lowered his head to look at the woman beneath him. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets. In the past, he had always felt that Zhao Xinhui was far away from him. He had never thought that one day he would be together with Zhao Xinhui. Yet, at this very moment, he was actually able to have such a relationship with Zhao Xinhui and do such an intimate thing. I'm here. Are you ready? Qin Yuan prepared to enter. Zhao Xinhui nodded and replied, yes, yes. Hurry up. She couldn't hold it in any longer. If Qin Yuan continued to dawdle, she would want to press down on this man's body and have a good time. Fortunately, Qin Yuan didn't dawdle this time. In an instant, the two of them had sex and reached a magical state. It was indescribably comfortable and enjoyable. Qin Yuan only felt that Zhao Xinhui's body wrapped around him was more comfortable than Zhao Ping. Perhaps it was the happiest thing to do with the person you loved. Between him and Zhao Ping, he was just satisfying his physical desires. He didn't have any other thoughts. Are you comfortable? Qin Yuan asked. Yes. Zhao Xinhui replied. Qin Yuan's stamina was obviously much better than young Master Huang's, so Zhao Xinhui enjoyed it very much. Chapter 2197. Zhao Xinhui had never experienced such pleasure before. When Qin Yuan saw Zhao Xinhui's expression of enjoyment, he knew that Zhao Xinhui was indeed very comfortable, so he worked harder on the bed. After a while, Zhao Xinhui's bed creaked loudly. Moreover, the two of them were enjoying themselves. Naturally, they couldn't care less and continued to enjoy themselves. Qin Yuan called out Zhao Xinhui's name, while Zhao Xinhui moaned in enjoyment. Because the two of them were in a state of oblivion, they didn't realize that their voices were clearly heard by the people outside the room. Of course, this included Zhao Ping and Hua Chunhua. Hua Chunhua was open-minded. She knew that Zhao Xinhui would be with Qin Yuan in the future. Whether the two of them had sex earlier or later, they would have to have sex sooner or later. Since it wasn't a big deal, they could let Zhao Xinhui keep Qin Yuan in suspense so that Qin Yuan wouldn't go looking for other pretty girls. Besides, Zhao Xinhui wasn't a pure girl now. Since it wasn't her first time, it naturally didn't matter. However, Zhao Ping sat there with a bitter expression. After all, Qin Yuan was the man she loved. How could she be willing to let the man she loved do such things with other women? When Zhao Ping heard Zhao Xinhui's licentious moans, she couldn't help but spit on the ground and scold, shameless, shameless, really shameless. Her aunt was a shameless B***tisk who specialized in seducing other men to do such things. Moreover, she moaned more happily than anyone else. It was broad daylight, yet she didn't hide it. She wasn't afraid of being overheard. She didn't know shame at all. Where did such a thick-skinned woman come from? Hearing Zhao Xinhui's screams getting more and more cheerful, Zhao Ping couldn't hold back anymore. She stood up and wanted to walk towards Zhao Xinhui's room. Hua Chunhua saw this and hurriedly pulled Zhao Ping back. She said to Zhao Ping, where are you going? Didn't you hear anything in the house? Zhao Ping curled her lips and replied with a face full of resentment, I heard it. My aunt is trying to seduce my husband. I'm going over now to stop my aunt from doing such a despicable thing. Hua Chunhua glared at Zhao Ping. What are you talking about? Who seduced your husband? Didn't you see how Qin Yuan was staring at your aunt? He was the one who stuck close to your aunt's butt. How can you say that your aunt seduced him? Zhao Ping snorted coldly. Anyway, it's my aunt's fault. She's shameless to do such a thing with my man. Hua Chunhua couldn't tolerate Zhao Ping talking bad about Zhao Xinhui. She poked Zhao Ping's forehead with her finger and scolded, "You wicked girl, if you dare to talk nonsense about your aunt again, I'll punish you. Instead of talking about your aunt, you should talk about your man. You can't control your man's heart. Who can you blame?" Now that Qin Yuan is rich, even if your aunt isn't around, there will be other women. Do you think that Qin Yuan is blind enough to fall in love with you? Although Hua Chunhua was telling the truth, Zhao Ping wasn't willing to listen. Okay, go back and sit down. Why did you suddenly barge in? Let's not talk about whether your aunt will be angry or not. When the time comes, the children of Qin Yuan will definitely not forgive you. You'd better behave and don't make people angry, lest they drive your Qin away. I'll see where you can live a good life. Chapter 2198. In the heat of the moment, she didn't think too much. She wanted to stop Zhao Xinhui and Qin Yuan from having fun together, but she didn't consider the consequences of rashly barging in. If she disturbed Qin Yuan's happy occasion, Qin Yuan would definitely reprimand her. If she ignored her in a fit of pique, then it would be over. Although she was unhappy, Zhao Ping couldn't do anything about it. Like a deflated balloon, Zhao Ping sat back down on the stool, feeling wronged. Hearing the happy sounds coming from the room, Zhao Ping felt a wave of irritation in her heart. Sigh. Zhao Ping sighed heavily and touched her face. If she could be as handsome as her aunt, perhaps Qin Yuan would like her instead of having illicit relations with Zhao Xinhui. At this time, Feng Xianxia returned to the courtyard with Jin Ju after they finished their business outside. As soon as they entered the courtyard, they heard the joyous sounds coming from Zhao Xinhui's room. Feng Xianxia was very shocked. Who was her little sister doing such a shameless thing in the room in broad daylight? When Jin Ju heard the sounds, her face immediately turned red with embarrassment. Feng Xianxia glanced at the horse carriage outside, then looked at Zhao Ping. She guessed that Qin Yuan had come over. At this time, the person doing such a thing in the room with Zhao Xinhui was undoubtedly Qin Yuan. Feng Xianxia snorted coldly. Little Ju, your aunt still had the nerve to say that before. Now, what she did is more embarrassing than anyone else. Why don't you say that you're shameless? It's broad daylight, yet you're shouting so happily. Fortunately, it's our family members who came to the courtyard. If someone else came and heard it, how terrible would that be? At that time, it would affect our old Zhao family's reputation. Because all the girls in our old Zhao family are just like her, shameless and thick-skinned. When Jin Ju heard Feng Xiangxia's words, she lowered her head and didn't say anything. She did feel embarrassed. When she thought of what had happened in the room, Jin Ju's face turned even redder. Feng Xiangxia glanced at her second daughter-in-law and asked with a smile, "Little Ju, are you embarrassed?" Jin Ju didn't say anything, but she silently agreed. Little girl Ju, you and Tianhu have already consummated your marriage. You're not an inexperienced little girl. What's there to be embarrassed about? Mother is just telling you that your aunt is shameless. Don't take what she said about you to heart. The most licentious person in our family is your sister-in-law. Feng Xianxia said and patted Jin Ju's shoulder. Jin Ju replied shyly. Compared to Zhao Xinhui, Jin Ju naturally knew that she was far less daring than Zhao Xinhui. Feng Xianxia smiled again and sashayed over to Hua Chunhua. With a mocking tone, she said to Hua Chunhua, "Mother, didn't you hear the commotion in the room? Why don't you go and talk to little sister? If the villagers hear this, who knows what kind of joke our old Zhao family will become?" Hua Chunhua's expression stiffened, and she replied unhappily, "How can I rush in and talk to her? Woman, it's easy for you to say that. Mother, I'm just reminding you out of kindness. There are many people in our village who talk. If such a shocking thing is known, it'll be terrible. Your little sister's mother, so you have to think for her. After all, little sister's reputation is already bad enough. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.